All right, hey everybody, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and my name is Ethan Van Sciver, 26-year veteran of this stupid comic book industry. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. World's most charming, elegant, eloquent, and yet humble man. Great big Star Wars fan, trusted member of the media. And hey, dude, we've renamed our show, man. Now it's called ComicsGate Millionaire Boot Camp Live with EVS and your boy Zack. How you doing, Zack?
Oh my God, I'm flipping out. Just flipping out right now.
How come?
Well, because of the ICV2 report and what it reveals that we've been saying for a year, that we've been denigrated and attacked and lied. It's true. Not only are we part of the industry, we're literally a significant percentage of turning out of the tailspin. We're above, I think, quick math, like 2.5%.
What do you mean we are?
Literally just you and me together, if I'm doing the math right.
And let me look at this here, because this is so Zack. Zack called me up all a flutter. Zack was very excited about these. Like, did you read Comicron? I don't read Comicron. I don't read it. I'm too stupid, Zack. You know, I'm not like you.
I do every month or so. Comicron is actually fairly easy to understand. They'll break down the sales by floppies and trade paperbacks, graphic novels, and then on the left they'll have these little boxes, and it's real Barney style. It'll say sales this month compared to last month, sales 5 years ago, 10 years ago, et cetera, et cetera. So what happened is for 3 years, the sales went down in almost every single metric. That's not only in number of books sold, but that's amount of money made. Last year, only one metric out of, I think, like 4 or 6 went up, and it went up less than the rate of inflation. It was like the money made off of floppies went up like 1.5%. So basically, they all got quiet because it was the third year in a row where sales went down in almost every metric. And then I think in February, they perked up because they're like, take that, you incels. Dollars are up 10%, but it was just because of that Action Comics 1000. And then the next month went back to cratering. But then people send me screenshots, and they've been sending me screenshots of, all these SJWs. They're like, the new report came out and things are up almost 8% and they're up $80 million. So I'm like, what? Where are they getting these numbers from? This is crazy. It's nothing I've ever seen. So then I go there, and one of the things SJWs they never ever do is they never read past the headline, or they usually never read past the biased, encapsulation of the headline. So right there in like the second thing, it says, sales went up because there are new factors in there. There's an other category right in there right now that covers newsstand, but then crowdfunding. North American, Canada, and America is, I believe, and I'm just doing this off memory, so I think you're probably looking at it.
I'm looking at it. I got it on the screen. So it says
20. Oh yeah, you'll be more accurate.
Let me read it. Let me read the article. All right, you tell me. You stop me when you need me to stop. All right.
And then at the bottom, I'm very excited. I'm stuttering. They have a 3-minute infographic, and like in the first 40 seconds, it explains everything.
Oh, okay. All right. So it says comics and graphic novel sales hit new high in 2018. Comics and graphic novel sales hit a new high in 2018, according to a new joint estimate by ICV2's Milton Griep and Comicron's John Jackson Miller. Total comics and graphic novel sales to consumers in the U.S. and Canada were approximately 1.095 billion in 2018, an $80 million increase over sales in 2017. So that's the number you're looking at. You're looking at the 80 million.
Exactly. Okay. We are part of the success that all of our enemies are crowing about, and we're not some micro percentage. You'll get to it, but my quick math, it looks like we're about 2% of the turnaround of the industry, or even maybe more. So just for Milton Grip and John Jackson, Jingleheimer Schmidt, whatever his name is, these guys are like old school number crunchers, going back. I haven't really detected much bias with them. They do kind of to gin things up, like things are doing good even when they're doing bad, but all you gotta do is read past the rosy headline and they'll give you hard facts, hard figures, down to the quarter and all the different metrics. So what I'm saying is they're solid. They're like a solid, dependable news source.
Right. Okay, so it says the increase was due to gains in book channel, and digital sales. Now, this is interesting. So, Book Channel, of course, they're saying that the comics, graphic novels are selling more in bookstores. Digital sales, they're saying, are going up. And the inclusion of an estimate for U.S. and Canada sales through crowdfunding sites.
Boom.
For the first time.
That hit me like a freaking nuclear bomb, because, you know, one of the big things they've been saying about you and me and others, specifically you and me, is that I'm not in the industry and you've been kicked out of it. We're not just within an industry, we're a part of the resurgence. And the thing you said about books channels, I believe that also counts Amazon. So that's,
Amazon is a big deal. Yeah,
and the other thing, when you count Amazon, that means you're counting manga, whatever you want to call it. So they're always going to try to hide it, like, hey, Plastic Man's doing great, and Female Furies. No. The savior of the industry is normies buying manga volumes on Amazon.com and people buying our books. Now, of course, we're not talking 50%, but these numbers are a little loose. But the proof right there from a genuine industry source. Can you imagine any two people being 1% of, what do you call it when you come out of a tailspin? You know what I mean? Like, they literally had to peg their success on us. Our enemies included us in the success of the industry.
Well, how about that?
Insane.
That is insane. So in other words, if you want to be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, either learn to draw big eyes and a lot of speed lines, or join ComicsGate. Join us. After a brief downturn in 2017, the market bounced back last year. Miller said popular releases helped right the ship in comic shops, even as sales avenues made significant gains. A historic shift is playing out as the market grew, primarily in the book channel, they want to say. So that's Amazon mostly. I mean, they can't really be talking about, B. Dalton.
They're not talking about B. Dalton or the bookstore at the library or the airport. They're talking about Amazon, and Amazon, they're talking about manga. That's just what it is. It's not the Plastic Man trade paperback. It's manga.
Manga's bigger than ever. I mean, everybody's into that. I wish I was into it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I'll go, if you start talking about manga and anime on your channel, geez, you'd be like PewDiePie.
Oof.
Yeah, people, I don't understand it. You always got to read 40 volumes. I read one. They're like, oh, you got to, it really clicks in volume 37. It's like, these volumes are 200 pages. I can't read 20,000 pages.
I like it. I like the fact that kids are reading, and that's all youth. I mean, the manga market is all kids. It's all like, we say kids, but teens,
20s, yeah.
That's the youth market. That's the kind of comics they're reading. Getting them to transition over to superheroes doesn't seem likely, but
well, I mean, because just one of the biggest things you get from manga is, everything's crazy and over the top, but the emotions are real. That's what people talk all about. That's why people get so invested in these characters, because the creators, who are for the most part completely apolitical, some of them literally just don't talk ever, or they just send it to their publisher, and their publisher says, he's this weird guy who lives up in the mountains. He just mails us.
I like that. I want to do that. I want to not talk to anyone except for my fans. Not even my fans. How about if we just disappear, into the Bermuda Triangle, and then just produce our comics from the Bermuda Triangle?
Well, awesome. I mean, to me, that's the real test of, it's not social media. It's not politics. It's literally just, this is my manga about romance and baking. And we throw some magic and we throw some fight scenes in there, and big eyes and speed lines, and we'll just sell more. And the other thing about these volumes is they're $10 each. And it goes around. That's probably the average for a manga volume is $10. But it's $10. It's going to take you 2 hours to read the thing, or more likely you're going to break it up over a couple of days. So I'm really thinking that long form, more bang for the buck. What is Blood Honey? What is it, like 80 pages right now?
Well, it's going to be 88 pages total, but it's going to be 88 like pages. 61 pages of story and art now.
Okay, so my last two books have been 120. The next two books are looking to be around 100. So you give them that nice, good chunk of a story, and I think that's where it's going. But it gets even better when you read on. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, let's see. So sales, I mean, this is the thing, guys. This is actually figuring out the market change, and the comic book industry is changing. We've said over and over again, the direct market is dying, and something's got to adapt. Sales in the book channel, which include chain bookstores, mass merchants, major online retailers, and scholastic book fairs. Now that is a grift right there. They talk about grift, these SJWs. Scholastic book fairs are the biggest grift because, you know, these trucks full of books come to all these elementary schools. Kids go home with a catalog and they get some money off of mom, and they can get a book. They could get a book about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, or Squirrel Girl. Yeah, Squirrel Girl looks kind of funny. It's a comic book. So that is an amazing grift. That is kind of shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, that's one of the things they do is, you know, one of the things they always talk about Scholastic, and they talk about it like it's magic, but I think it's like a 15, 20 page little flimsy newspaper thing. So they have a limited amount of space. So Marvel knows they got, you know, whatever, 8 entries they can make in that thing. So they front load their SJW garbage. That's why they're able to say these ridiculous sales figures for Squirrel Girl and Ms. Marvel, because they add in, you know, whatever. It's like, oh, geez, you know, this, or okay, that's a Marvel. I know Marvel. Mm-hmm. My parents took me to something Marvel, so that's what they get them on. So they like to bury the biggest one. The biggest one is Amazon. I've also heard that Scholastic is really not good for anyone but Scholastic and the schools. They get like a little, not a kickback, but they get a percentage, because those prices are like, it's basically like Ollie's, you know, it's clearance prices. And then the actual people who sell in there, you know, they get that fraction of it. But it is a big market. It's basically every public school in the whole country.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I will tell you that I was talking to a creator who was working, who had a contract with Scholastic, and the contract was like, yeah, you can produce a comic for us. We're going to pay you $24,000 to do 2 books, and you have to pay your own colorist and letterer. So
that does not sound like a good deal.
That is not a good deal. That's not a good deal. The $24,000 sounds nice, but then when you factor in the work and the fact that you have to divide up that money, it ain't that great. So maybe you're right, but at least they're selling units. Somebody's making money. So that's what this represents. It doesn't really mean a profitable future for actual creators, but it's profit for somebody. All right, so they're up by double digits with sales of kids' graphic novels, the biggest factor. And that's exactly right. You know, we sit there and marvel at Squirrel Girl comics and why that's still being published when they're dreadful. This is why.
I think it does like 8,000 in direct market sales.
Yeah. We got a $10 super chat here. Hang on a second. The Ryan Cardinal says, "Big Eyes, Speed Lines, that's my jam. Be sure to keep an eye out for my upcoming comic on Indiegogo called Chaos. The Story of Blood and Stone. It launches next week on May 7th. Ethan, check out the trailer." All right, brother, stay in contact with me. Stay in touch. We'll promote your book a little bit. All right, so let's see here. Digital sales were also up for the first time in several years. Now, that's a good point. That's something to think about. Digital sales had bottomed out from what we were hearing.
Because we saw that with IDW. I did a video a couple months ago where I just compared your and my sales last year to basically one of the quarters for IDW, one of the bigger indies. Mm-hmm. And in one of the metrics, I believe, direct to comic book stores, our sales were pretty much equal, which is not good because they have all these, you know, they got Back to the Future, they got Ghostbusters. There are all these companies that have all these, they have $1 million properties and they're selling 5,000 copies. That's not even worth the time it takes to go to the lawyer and have your lawyer talk to their lawyer and work out, you know, we got 2 years of what would be good? Quantum Leap. We're going to do Quantum Leap comics. And by the time you do that, you've probably spent $10,000 in lawyer fees. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so they're doing these licenses. They're just barely making them. They got to go other realms to actually make the money.
The only licenses that are available, it seems like, it's stuff from 30 years ago. Like you just mentioned Quantum Leap. That's very funny. I mean, it's like, who is that for? And somebody's going to think, hey, that's a good idea. I'm gonna get the Quantum Leap license and do Quantum Leap. Who is buying that? Who was buying that? There's so many books like that out there. I don't
Well,
know.
the thing is, it's this thing where at the direct market has been so destroyed that you get these licenses, but then you just basically break even with good sales, which are 10,000, which is pathetic. I mean, you got these characters that 500 million people have heard of, and 5,000 people will buy the book, and that's pretty much every license right now.
Yeah, we're getting some news, by the way. I know you don't care about this, Zach. Renfamous got banned again. And I just heard from. Does anybody care about this in the chat? I mean, let's get a little confirmation. Because I heard Yellow Flash just told me he did it. He's the one who got it done. So I just saw that pop up, and then somebody said Renfamous was banned. That's interesting. Hold on, let me do a quick check. Now, Zach, you couldn't be less bored with what's going on Twitter.
I mean, I checked in yesterday because you were telling me like, "Hey, check out this." I go, "I don't look."
Yeah.
So I checked in, and it's it's basically
shit.
same old.
Account suspended. All right, they got her. They got her.
One thing that I think is happening, because I don't really follow this, but I did follow the news that a bunch of Paul Joseph Watson Farrakhan and a couple other people got banned. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the big social media outlets are getting really sick of anyone who is causing problems but not bringing them in money. So I think it's going to be both sides. They're just going to start nuking people. Hey, we're tired of dealing with you. We're tired of this. Go away. Somewhere someone is unboxing toys, and they're making 2 million views, and we don't have to deal with any drama. So I think drama is some 2018 stuff that needs to go away.
That would be nice. There's some dude LARPing as me right now. Fake account, but he's pretty good. He's probably somebody from War Campaign, and he's messing with everybody. And he's actually asking them. He's like, you guys are bullies, and you're actually bullies. Why do you do this? Why can't you just be nice? And I was like, I never thought to actually talk to those people that way. Your immediate response to their absolutely horrible behavior is just to be horrible back to them. But it's a good question. I wish people would kind of get along. Account suspended. All right, so that's for people who are interested in that. That's pretty big news, and it's just on and on and on. All right. Sporkman Studios is here. Thanks for $5. Hey, Ethan, Sporkman Goes to Japan is a manga-themed comic live now on Indiegogo. We got mecha, kaiju, and much more. What's kaiju?
Kaiju are giant monsters.
Oh, well, I like that. I knew Godzilla.
Yeah, think of Godzilla, King Kong, they're kaiju. Pacific Rim, that's kaiju.
Maybe I'm going to get interested in a little bit more manga. I mean, look, you should follow the market. I mean, if I knew manga artists, I would employ them right now.
The normies go in the direction of normies. There was that scene in Avengers Endgame where they got all the female heroes to kind of Yas Queen it up for 18 seconds. People were saying, "Why aren't you doing a video on this? Why aren't you complaining about it?" Because I was in a theater and all the normies clapped at that point. So,
wow.
But when they didn't clap? When Captain Marvel made her entrance. I was hearing heartbeats.
Really?
And not excited heartbeats, calm heartbeats. It was so quiet. When that happened, I thought, because it made $1 billion earlier, but normies are just like, no. We just went to that movie because we were excited about Endgame. But they did like when all the female heroes had a little moment. So go in whatever directions normie go in, you go in that direction.
Yeah, I always said that. I was always kind of the opinion that if SJWism, as it were, actually sold comics and actually attracted audiences just on its own.
That would absolutely be the direction to go to. And there is a legitimate business reason for back in 2014, 2015, when SJW politics started getting big, and to say, hey, let's try it. Let's see if this is the new market. But the results were in more than 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clear that was a market that will expect you to cater to them past the point of bankruptcy, and they will turn on you like that. You will do one teeny tiny thing, and they will wish for your bankruptcy. I mean, they never talked about you for 2 years. Oh, one thing I don't like, we're going to try to make you bankrupt.
Yeah.
So which direction, if you run a company, which direction do you want to go in?
I want to go away from what the SJWs are doing. And, if that means that I'm going to suffer some abuse, I'm really in business to make money. I mean, I know that's a shocking thing to say. I'm really in business to make money. Zach, I'm doing something right now, and I mentioned this to you, but I'm doing something right now with Dynamite Comics. I went over to them and I said, look, a lot of people are doing this thing where they take already printed comics and they add a new cover, like a nice variant, exclusive rare cover. And I'd like to take these covers. I'd like to take some of these comics like Vampirella and the Chaos characters, Army of Darkness, the Reanimator, and I want to team them up with Cyberfrog for these exclusive variant covers. And I really think we can make money at this. And I'll sell as many as I can. I'm gonna buy. I'll buy them. I'll let you know. We'll decide a price when the sales come through. But I just think this might make some money, and it would be easy money, and it would be fun. I will tell you something. It has received a reaction from the mainstream comic book industry like nothing I've ever seen before. And the idea that somebody might be going, well, Cyberfrog is doing pretty well. If Ethan wants to actually buy some of these comics, put Cyberfrog and Vampirella together on one of these comics and make $100,000, which is possible with ComicsGate. You can do that. And I'm going to get a piece of that. Maybe I better do that for the sake of my business. The outrage from these people is just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing.
Way back in the day, do you remember like the 90s where there was like a standard way to apply for a job? You would, send in your submissions, or you would send in a sample script. For a short amount of time, I was thinking about being a writer. So I think I don't think I ever wrote any of these down, but I think I just came up with them in my head while I was at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And one was a Joker Christmas story. And do you remember the town square from Batman Returns? That scene that they kept going back. Everything in that movie leads back to that very good but kind of small set. So the idea was that overnight, in the middle of the night, all of these gifts, a giant pile of gifts, 100 feet tall, for every poor, what is it, the Narrows, where the poor people live in Gotham?
Yeah.
There is, and it's addressed to every single person in the Narrows, and it's everything you want. And the Joker says, hey, I've done a bunch of effed up things. I'm sorry. We got off on the wrong foot. So I got everyone in the Narrows what you wanted. What's your dad, your mom who works so hard they can't afford it? I got you that. Yeah, I tapped into your phone lines. Yeah, I tapped into your email. Yeah, I did this, and I'm still the Joker. But I got you all what you wanted. So what happens is the police put a big cordon around it. They start searching it, with radar and sonar and whatever. And they go, it looks real. We're just seeing, Xboxes and teddy bears and all this stuff. It's all real. And then Joker says, you got to get it. It's Christmas Eve is done. It's Christmas Day. You got to get it. These are Christmas gifts. You can't. And so they wait and they wait and they wait. And finally it turns to December 26th. And a missile comes out from, Joker copter, blows it all up. So it was never a trick. It was literally like, I'm going to get you what you want, and you're going to be afraid to take it. So that was the actual trick. The Joker wanted to get joy out of people. Oh, is it real? Is it real? It looks real. They say it's real, but I'm still scared. So it looks like that.
Yeah.
There's millions of dollars sitting in the middle of a field. People are scared to go get it.
Wow. That's exactly right. By the way, Story Time with Yang Yan Zhao just sent me a $50 super chat. Thank you, brother. Manga is only popular in the US now because mainstream hyper specialized in superheroes in the 70s, then sucked in this decade. The market for people who like horror, romance, sci-fi, and fantasy still exists. They were just picked up by manga.
Yeah.
Wow, how about that? Yeah, I mean, this is all stuff to think about. I remember all through the 90s, Zach, were you reading, you were fighting overseas in the 90s, weren't you? In the late 90s?
You're off by a decade. In the 1990s, I was being a very bad college student, trying to break into comics. I got a couple little indie gigs, and then I met Sean Burry, and I go, oh my gosh, what is wrong with this industry? I go, I don't want to do this. And then I joined the military, and I was in the military for about 12 years for the most part.
That was funny because Sean Burry and we talked about this before. Like you were
Yeah.
dealing with Sean Burry at the same time I was, you know, and we had
just because I took the video down because like a year and a half ago, my channel started getting major hits, and I didn't know who it was. So I took the videos down of everyone who I thought it might be. But me and him developed a property, and then he had worked at Marvel and DC, I think Wildstorm too. So he was like the guy in the industry, and I was like the little protege. So we developed this property, and it was pretty cool. I did most of the grunt work, and then he did the the proposal. This is back in the days when you'd go to Kinko's and you'd print out a proposal and you put a nice little cover on it, and it said Oasis, created by Sean Burry and Company. And I said, where's my name on this? I did like 80-90% of the work. And he goes, your and Company. And I was like, what the hell? Where is the recruiter? Get me the hell out of this. I lost all interest in having comics as a career. And, I met some other people, and I just knew like the stress and the politics and the low money. And it's like, oh, you're always kissing the ass of some 26-year-old associate editor. I go, forget this. Put 100 pounds on my back, march me through the mud. I'll be happier in life.
Dude, you're dealing with more healthy people when you're in the military.
Oh, absolutely. I mean
good, like salt of the earth people. In comics, there's something wrong with everybody. And this is something I figured out right away. I was like, wow, there is something wrong with almost everybody who works in comics. And that's why they're comic book creators at this point. It's like, there's just something wrong with them, and they're special in some way. Now, sometimes that's wonderful, and sometimes it's horrible. Okay, but you have to kind of figure out what that is, and if you can actually work with these people. That's the main thing about it. Yeah, I can absolutely attest to what you're saying there. You start to get involved with people and their egos, a lot of like fighting, a lot of just like inability to work with the editor, inability to work under any conditions where there's an authority over you. Absolutely terrible. Oh, we got a $20 super chat from Mark C, who says, we lost our favorite Wookiee today. Rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. Yeah, I heard about that. That's awful. You ever meet him, Zach?
Yeah, I did. Me and Zaxxon, we went to a Wizard World. I had kind of dropped out of comics for like a decade. So they had a Wizard World, and Zaxxon was really, really into Star Wars at the time. So we went there and we got a little autographed picture. It was cool.
Yeah, he was a really, really nice guy. He's
very shy, very, very shy.
And like with a fun sense of humor. He was there with his wife all the time. We used to do Tampa Comic-Con, this little comic show 3 times a year when I lived in Florida. And he was always a guest there. And he was just, because there was never a big crowd, he would always get a lot more loose and a lot more fun. His wife called him Chewbacca, which was interesting. And he would laugh. I went out to dinner with him a couple of times. It's an awful thing. He was old and he was always kind of frail. It was always like Richard
this was
Steele.
10 years ago. He was very sick, and I thought we were going to lose him back then. But yeah, I met him and got a little signed picture.
I got him. Yeah, I got his autograph too. A great guy. By the way, I want to say one thing. Zach, how close are you to 100,000 right now?
In what? Oh,
are you there
subscribers?
Yet?
I think like 80 or something like that.
Oh my gosh. We need to do a sub drive really quick. I want to get Zach over 100,000 right now. Right now. All right, let me see. There's got to be a way I can open up and see your page really quick. We're going to get you over 100,000. Comics. His YouTube channel is called Comics Matter with your boy Zack and Captain Marvel. No, it's not. It's just your boy Zack. I don't know why Captain Marvel came up. Look at you. Yeah, you are just 84 subscribers away from 100,000. Guys, Comics Matter with your boy Zack. Everyone go over there right now. We've got 1,100 people watching, I think. And if we just got, the people who have not subscribed to him yet over there and sub to Zack, we're going to get him right over 100,000 live. live right now. So go over, guys, put the link in the chat if I have any wrenches out there. That would be so cool.
Yeah, thanks. And for people, so I'm gonna see most of the people, have at least heard of me. So just a little pitch: if you used to be subscribed and you unsubscribed, right now it's a pretty calm, chill channel. I changed it to Comics Matter because that's what I wanted to focus on. I didn't want to focus on drama or fighting or Twitter stuff. So I basically do 2 videos a day. They're usually new comics, but I'm trying to do what I call Marvel before SUW. It's like 90s comics and from the Casada years. It's like fun action comics.
The Casada years were really good, man.
They really were. And I remember people complaining about them when they were, and I was kind of like poor or deployed, but I would flip through them at the PX and I was like, these look good. Because remember, his deal was he did Marvel Knights, and I forget who his colorist was, but it was Kevin Smith writing, him drawing. It was what's that guy's name? Palmiotti doing
inking. Yeah,
they're a great team. And then was it Paul Mounts? It was somebody. They had this fantastic coloring. So he was the one who kind of brought that team of really, really well colored. The art during the Quesada years was so freaking good. You had Steve Dillon on freaking everything. You had who was the guy who did that? They did this Inhumans miniseries. That was like some of the best art.
Jay Lee.
Well, they did Jay Lee, and then they did this, I think, a guy from Europe. He did Cable for a while, and then he did like the second one. But you go to that era, and everything just looks freaking fantastic. So one of the things they did is they kind of went more into like bro humor, but it was still like mainstream, like normie stuff.
Yeah, I have to say, like the Joe Quesada,
and you were there during the Quesada years. That was your Grant Morrison run, right? Quesada years.
Yeah, that's when I was there. I really, I mean, I have to say, Marvel was a mess. Like right before that, and sort of right after that. It wasn't helped by Bill Jemas. Bill Jemas, I think, was a negative influence overall on Quesada's Marvel time. By the way, you're at 99,965 subscribers. We're 35 subscribers away now. 35 subscribers away. Star Tiger points out that the European guy you were looking for was Jose Ladron, and he's quite right.
Exactly.
Jack Kirby.
That guy was so freaking good. Where is that guy right now? What's
he
doing?
Know. He did one of the Marvel DC mashup books, like the Incredible Spider Boy or something like that. And
yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, and it was intense, like super, super detailed Kirby style. And
so good.
There's so many guys just disappeared from comics. It's like they kind of do their time and then get the hell out. I don't blame them, but I never will. 99,970 subscribers for Comics Matter with your boy Zack. We're just 30 away from actually seeing Zack become ultra powerful at 100,000. You know, when you're at 100,000, you hit a whole new algorithm. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I remember yours went to 100,000. I was cool, and then I peaked back like a month later, and it was 120. It took you a year to get 100,000. Another 20. Oh, you know who blew up that I didn't even notice till like 3 days ago?
Who?
The Quartering.
Oh, for real? Yeah.
He's at 500,000 subs right now. Do you remember? We all started at like the same time.
He was at 130 when we first started, but he was like, no, we didn't start because he had the Quartering and he had his gaming channel,
something long box, something box or something like cards, Unsleeved Media.
Unsleeved Media. That's where he was, and it was so he was always right around there. But at some point, like he's like, "Can I call you on the phone?" And I was like, "Yeah. What do you need?" He calls me up. He goes, "Dude, you got to fix your YouTube channel." He's like, "You are fucking with your own algorithm. And here's what you got to do: lay off the live streams. Start organizing your thumbnails like in a certain way. If
thumbnails are so important, it's not even funny."
Yeah. And he goes, if you do a live stream, take it down or move it somewhere else because your live streams are killing your algorithm. So I said, well, he's like, look at your page. It looks like a mess. So I took some of his advice, and I did that, and I think it helped. But he took all of his own advice, and really, I mean, did the kind of mundane Matt thing where you're talking about the most lurid news stories in gaming and pop culture, and his channel just zoom. I mean, and the thing about YouTube is that once you get to 100,000, 110 is right around the corner. And then once you get to 150, you're at 200 the next day. And it just, you go that fast all of a sudden because your videos get recommended out. and more people are bound to look at you and say, like if you're watching some channel and it only has 8,000 subs, and even if you like the video, what's your attitude kind of like? You're kind of like,
You're
so
like, I feel like I'm throwing it down a hole or something like that.
yeah, you're like, nobody else likes this, so why would I subscribe? But if you see a channel like, the Quartering, he's got 500,000 subscribers. You're like, why haven't I subscribed to this yet? Everyone else has, and that's what goes
Arcada
on.
blew up. Remember, Arcada was like 1,000 views.
Yeah.
Regatta blew up. Like, it's phenomenal. He does live streams at like 2 in the freaking morning and has 6,000 people there.
Yeah, his live streams are absolutely incredible, and they're just throwing money at him, like Mark C just did. $20, thank you. Zach, check out the Incal series. Mobius did one book. Ledron did one as well. The series in a French classic is a French classic, he says. So
yeah, that was also where Travis Charest or Chare, he went over there. And he kind of just disappeared. he worked for like 5 years and produced like 50 pages for some Meta Barons thing. For,
I got it. Yeah. He didn't finish that book. Somebody else finished it for him. It's an outrage. I
think he just had a good old time in Paris. I'm sure they put him up because, yeah.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, everyone, Zach is just 18 subs away from hitting that 100,000. If you haven't yet subscribed to Comics Matter with your boy Zach, the link is in the description. Not in the description. The wrenches are putting it out there for you guys. Margaret just put it up there. Panboy did. Make sure to subscribe to Comics Matter with your boy Zach so we can get him to 100,000 right now. He's at 99,985. Zach, I know you don't care about this, but I do. I like watching numbers change. I don't know what it is with me.
So a lot of the people, they've been watching it. I'm kind of that. I don't like to focus on that because, for every person who has 100,000, there's someone else who has 2 million. So it's like, But I've noticed that for my subscribers, it's important to them. So they said, "Are you going to do a live stream when you hit 100,000?" And well, by an amazing coincidence,
you are.
Yeah,
we're going to make it happen right now. This is we're making this breach. 99,992 subscribers right now. Everyone, make sure that you are subscribing to Comics Matter with your boy Zach. I know that a lot of people are going to kind of want to be number 100,000. We're at 99997 now, 3 away. So it's going to happen right now. Congratulations, 100,001 subscribers. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. Keep the subs coming. This is a big deal. Let me explain something for those of you who are kind of here from Star Wars and they're not really into ComicsGate yet. This is Richard C. Meyer, also known as your boy Zach, that we've got joining us for this. We're going to do this. I like ComicsGate Millionaire Boot Camp Live. I think we're going to keep doing this show so we can talk to people about how we think comic books are best going to thrive. But Zach was in the trenches from the very start, pointing out the problems with SJWism within comics. His channel is the most important ComicsGate channel, the most important. And if you haven't subscribed to it, you have not enjoyed his insight into the poison that has infested the comic book industry. And you're missing out. You'll be glad that you subscribed. Just go.
This is what's so crazy. The poison and then we're the medicine. We literally proven, documented, hard numbers. We're literally the medicine for the comic book industry, according to this ICV2.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone saying this person's 2.5% of the reason your grandpa was cured of cancer?
Yeah. We helped. We actually helped. I don't know if they wanted our help, but we did help. All right, let's go back to that article. Everyone, so this is a big day. Announce it. Talk about it on Twitter. Diversity in Comics. The new channel is called Comics Matter with your boy Zach, has reached 100,000 subscribers. It is it's a big day. All right, so here we go. Let's get back to this article, okay? And let's talk about this a little bit more. So what we're actually talking about right now is the fact that for the first time in 3 years, the comic book industry seems to have bounced back. And what accounts for this?
What they had to do is they could only go, 1 year you say, it's a down year. 2 years you go, this 3 years, they had to make a change. So what they did is they went in for other things they could count, and they went in for crowdfunding. So they want to use us. Oh, we pulled out of the tailspin. Who did they grab? EVS, Zack, John Malin, Mitch Breitweiser, Doug Tenopple, Mike Miller. You put all those in with ours. That's over $2 million.
Yeah. Well, it's
That
way
doesn't
over
even
$2
get
million.
into. Yeah, that doesn't even get into, because just between you and me together, that's 1.25 million. We're just talking about 2018. And then what Doug Tenopple did like 200,000. The Breitweiser did, I think, 150 or more. Mike Miller more than 100. John Malin more than 100. Craziness. And this is not, because one of the things, back in the day, I remember Jamal Eichel is like, it's $1 billion industry and you guys only did $1 million. That's only this micro percentage. But of the pulling out of the tailspin, the 80 million that saved the industry, that made it positive. What percentage are we? 1 in 40. I'm bad at math. Somebody, you got a Jersey meathead and a Marine doing math. So please, everyone, check our math.
Yeah,
but
exactly,
2 million out of 80 million of pulling out of the tailspin. That's insane. So you with your 800,000.
Considering everything
you
else
did 800,000.
Yeah,
800,000 is 1%. You are 1% of an industry turnaround.
I've always said I'm a 1%er. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And I mean, considering, Zach, that the rest of the turnaround consists of basically manga. I'm going to pronounce it right. People in the chat all said manga. Do you say manga or do you say manga?
I say manga, and then they correct me and I say manga.
Manga.
But then there's manhwa, which is Korean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. I'm gonna start. You know what? When I lived in New York, when I was in New York every single day during the Harris Comics days, I used to go to Chinatown and I would buy these Hong Kong comics that were just absolutely incredible. And I wish I still had them. They influenced my work on Impulse, like all the speed lines and stuff.
Is that where it came from? Because you had this. I remember when you first came in, and then you had a sudden change.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was some Humberto Ramos, but the rest was literally like Chinese.
Yeah, I'll show you. I actually have, I have a page of art here. By the way, people who say, Zach, you know what people say to me? Oh, you're robotic. You're robotic. You're robotic. You know, people say to me, they say, Ethan, knock it off with the Star Wars. We came here to talk comics with you, and I say, I'm here actually talking comics right now. Everybody should be very, very excited about this. They should be, but they won't be. Zach, why?
I think you should keep doing. I think you should do both, because Star Wars is what made your channel blow up, but then the Star Wars people and the comic book people made your Cyberfrog blow up. Going to make Brute blow up. I'm really excited for that one, by the way.
Yeah, I talk, you know what, honestly, I talk about whatever I want to day to day. I mean, it's just whatever I'm in the mood for. I really like having a focus, and talking about Star Wars news makes me feel like the channel has a direction and a focus.
Good to mix it up, because when I do nothing but comic reviews, things start to flag. All of a sudden, I'll do a movie or some crazy thing happens. You got to vary it up, or people don't get other Star Wars. Very interesting, because it's different.
One thing I definitely have to do, though, Zach, is I have to get you a better setup. I got to get you I mean, we got to figure out a way. Can we crowdfund Zach like a computer, like awesome microphone, just kick-ass internet, so that we can
because we're going into the summertime, and I'm going to be bouncing around even more than I usually do.
Oh, man. Well, Zach, look at this. This is what I wanted to show you. So this is an original art page from Impulse that I drew probably in 1999 or so. And you can see, like, this is my...
I can't see it. I'm looking at my ceiling fan.
Oh, that's right. You're not looking at that. All right. So, but the crowd can see it. All right. So this is the thing. This is all my Chinese Hong Kong influence. And of course, I was drawing kind of like Humberto Ramos. Like the character looks the way the character looks. But just the idea of this movement, like popping this costume out of his ring, and then this swoop, and then like that. I mean, that's just, and then you've got these two other panels here. But this kind of movement, this kind of electric energy, and then the speed lines everywhere. That was all. That was all for me going to Chinatown and just buying everything. You know, buying all the comics that I could find there and bringing them home. Going, how do they do this? How the hell do these people do this? It's amazing. So yeah, I mean that was impulse. Yeah, and it was you know that job, Zach. You know, sometimes you have to just adapt yourself for the job that you can get. You know, early on. You know, when you're trying to. I know what you want to do more than anything. Here are the two things Zach wants to do. You want to do G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Expendables. I'm trying to think. I think it was either Dynamite. I think it was Dynamite that used to have the thing for Expendables. And Rambo. You know, Iron Sights 1 actually started as Rambo fanfic. If you remember the last movie from like 10 years ago, he finally goes back to America. He goes to his dad's ranch. And so I basically started to come up with a story. Well, what happens after he goes to dad's ranch? So Woods from Iron Sights is Rambo.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. I love those Rambo movies, man. So you want to get a hold of like, so that's a license that would sell. Like if you could get the license to do Rambo comics, it would actually work.
Can you imagine John Malin doing? So you'd set it in between the movies. So you notice how they got First Blood, and he's basically a homeless guy, and then the second one he's in jail. Who wants to see Rambo in jail? You do a whole thing with him in jail.
Yeah.
And then you do them in between Rambo, 2 and 3, and then you got like 20 years in between Rambo 3 and 4.
Yeah. There's a lot of room to tell stories there. There's not a lot of story that's already been told. So there's, you could do Rambo from all different eras. There really is. Yeah. It's the same as Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars, the only characters that people really, that I care about, Luke, Han, and Leia. You could tell all those stories in between Return of the Jedi and the Force Awakens. The Force Awakens, Zack. But in any case, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you'd want to do. I could see you doing. Here's what I would like to see: you writing, John Malin drawing John Wick.
Oh my gosh!
What do you think?
And if we can't get the rights to that, we can just do a parody called, Juan Wick or something like that.
Not a parody, just do a ripoff. If you do a ripoff, you get to do whatever you want with somebody else's property. Rob Liefeld did that all through the 90s and early 2000s. And he was able to actually get people to come over.
He had like that Hulk that wasn't the Hulk. He had that speedster who, then he would like buy the rights and he would take his Captain America pages and redraw them as was it Glory or
Fighting American? Like no.
Fighting American. Yeah.
Yeah, he got the rights. I think Fighting American, who's created by Joe Simon. It might be. Is it public domain? I think it might be.
No, I don't think so. Because I think just some company did it recently. I don't remember who it was, but just some guy said he did a really glowing review of a Fighting American that came out, I think, last year. I gotta go put my stuff in the dryer. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. So Rob Liefeld back in the, early 2000s used to just do whatever he wanted to do. I mean, if he'd create his own, if he couldn't do Wonder Woman, he would just create a character called Glory, and it would just be a Wonder Woman kind of fill in there. Let me read some of these super chats while Zach's away, and we'll get all caught up. Thank you guys for sending super chats, and I hope you're enjoying the show. It's nice to have Zach on. I wish he wasn't electronic all the time. But Zach kind of does everything from his iPhone, his cell phone, and he kind of travels a lot. All right, so he's a man of mystery. He's a man of intrigue. Panboy Lando Soy Child Dong Lover, thanks for $2. He says, "We are Caesar's incel army. # Rainbow Brute Celibacy Challenge." Zebulon Pike says, "What it do?" That used to be Zach's whole slogan. He would just say, "Hey, what it do? It do what it do." Demented for Fun, thanks for $5. Only 1 day left on Downcast. Let's get it to the 25,000 club. Oh, that would be cool. Downcast, I'm not sharing right now. Hold on a second. I think you're looking at me, and I'm going to show you Downcast. You know.
Okay, I'm back. You talking about Sweetcast right now?
Yeah. By the way, Zack was one of the first YouTubers to tell me nobody wants to look at you. Your voice is okay. And actually, he said your voice is creepy, but it's better than your face. And I went, okay. And so only recently have I decided to show what I look like because other people said you need to let people. Here's the thing, Zack. All right, and this is where you were wrong. When you only give people your voice, they project their fantasies onto you. And then inevitably, when they see your horrible face, they're crushed and they're probably going to unsub. That is true. Poor John Malin. John Malin has the coolest voice in the world. His persona, when you're only looking at his voice, you're listening to his voice, and you're looking at his little avatar from Graveyard Shift. He's the coolest guy in the world. And then he decided to go on camera last week, and people were horrified. It's not that he's not a handsome guy, but it's not what they were hoping for. It's not what they
that Graveyard Shift 2 is gonna be big. I'm real excited about that one.
Dude, for real. Graveyard Shift 2 is gonna be great. I'm gonna see if I can get in on it.
People are so happy with Graveyard Shift. Is especially like the quality of the printing. Basically that's what I'm going for in the future. I got that in the mail. So he did the glossy cover, the glossy pages. That's what I'm doing for this Jawbreakers remastered. But talking about Sweetcast. Sweetcast is like the guy who's learned all the right lessons from everything. He built himself up. You know, he can stand on his own. It helps when he gets other people to talk about him. He did his first crowdfund, I think it's plus $20,000, and it's doing good. He gets good views. He's built his own audience. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah, Clint is a fellow Mormon. I say fellow. I think he's a practicing, active Mormon. People try to make me a Mormon. I just grew up a Mormon, Zach. I'm not practicing. You know, I was baptized. I'm going to the celestial kingdom. Mike S. Miller's wrong and I'm right. But Clint is an actual real Mormon. And thus he's calm and patient. He's, these are all attributes. Very business savvy. I think if you watch the HBO show Big Love, you know that Mormons are very, very good at business, very good at making money. And he is. He studied this for a long time. Clint studied ComicsGate. He agreed with ComicsGate. He was a fan of yours. He's a fan of mine. He's a fan of Douglas Ernst, especially. And we all love Doug. He learned everything from that, and he decided this is what I love about him. He goes, first thing, 6 months of laying the groundwork. 6 months of laying the groundwork. So open up my YouTube channel, make steady, interesting clickbait content that attracts people to me. Then go on all the big YouTube shows, see if I can get on the shows. But if I can't get on the shows, try to get their attention, super chats, or just interesting comments that get read aloud. Meet people, talk to people, network. This is all 6 months. And then start to talk about the comic book that you're going to do.
Yeah.
Build anticipation. And by the time you do that, your channel's going to grow. Now, I told people not to crowdfund until they were at 25,000 subscribers, Zach.
Yeah,
everyone
I didn't crowdfund until I was at like 50 or 60. I had originally planned not even to try it until I got to 75,000 subs. It was like a year ago. I was like 55,000, and I said, I think this is good. But I mean, I was nervous. I would talk to friends. I say, what do you think Jawbreaker is going to make? They're like, 20, 30,000. I'm like, hey, sheesh. But obviously we did better. But I went in very humble. I remember you went in very, very humble. I don't know what your sub, but you've been in 25 years and you didn't have any big aspirations for Cyberfrog. I think you were shooting for maybe 100,000.
Yeah, I had 40,000 subs when I started, and I think 60,000 when I stopped doing Cyberfrog, the first campaign. And I watched you. And I thought initially you and I were like, what do you think we're going to do? And I said, I think we're going to get to 80, 90,000, because, these dimwits did, and I was talking about, people who hate ComicsGate, and I think they did it. And so our books are better and we're going to be able to do it. I think we can beat them. And you're saying, I don't know.
Do you want a little revelation? And I don't think John's going to be bothered with this.
Yeah.
John Malin, he believed in the success, and we did a contract, again, very, very vague. Let's just say he bet on himself and he bet on success and he won.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah,
He,
John.
he didn't go in humble. He wasn't wringing his hands about 20,000. He goes, let's shoot for this, and if we do
Yeah.
this, I get this, and and he did it. So he was probably. I always try to mention him. When people mention me and you, and I was like, John Malin. It's like because Jawbreakers, did come out before Cyberfrog. Cyberfrog did better, but Jawbreakers did good because we got what did we get? We got John Malin. We got Brett Smith. Kelsey Shannon, you did the cover. We got a really good new guy for doing one of the backups. We got some really good pinups, but John Malin was like right there, square one.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, John Malin was a big early, like, John Malin crashed ComicsGate into reality because ComicsGate, like, we were like, something's up. But I mean, and people were using the word ComicsGate, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't a fight yet. It was just some people talking about, hey man, Marvel needs to straighten up. These SJWs are crazy. It wasn't really until John Malin got fired or blacklisted or whatever it was. He finished his contract. They didn't hire him back because, and he believes his assistant editor was prejudiced against him for being a Trump supporter. It wasn't really until that ComicsGate just kind of became a big thing. John was like I feel like he was the impetus. I could be remembering it wrong, but he came on my show.
That's how I remember a bit. So I actually, because like I said, I kind of dipped out because I didn't have money, and I saw him on. He did this fantastic run of Cable with Ed Brisson writing, and it was just and everyone was just raving about it. And I actually forget how we started talking. I don't know if he showed up in your live streams or something like that, but I was just like, what if I could get John Malin? Like, that would be crazy. And these pages, I'm doing business every day, that first page, do you remember the first page? It was going to be the cover. It was the first page. It was all the Jawbreakers running toward the camera.
Yes.
And him and then Brett Smith. I have seen that picture probably 1,000 times over the last year. Yeah. It's never lost its luster. It's never like, this is like
looks great.
Dream. It's so freaking good.
Yeah, like that initial John Malin image sold half of the comics. I mean, easily. I mean, that image people went, oh, it's going to look like this. Like, before it was all talk. I mean, being a writer and talking about what you want to do is one thing, but actually seeing it and it looks real. It looks good. It looks like a real comic book, and it looks fun. That's what really launched Jawbreakers into the stratosphere. So
yeah, so imagine something like Chuck Dixon writing John Wick and John Malin writing or drawing it, coming at the camera, with the reader with guns blazing. Oh, God. What would that
you to write it? I don't. You talk about Chuck Dixon. Chuck Dixon's very busy. I'm not sure he wants to write John Wick, not the way you do. So I'd rather have you do it. I want somebody who cares. I want somebody that's really into it.
Chuck Dixon, he knows John Wick real good, real
really.
Good. Oh yeah, he's a huge movie buff.
Well, all right. So let's get back to Clint here, because, by the way, we just sold him like another $150 for the books. Guys, you should be backing Downcast, by the way. Downcast on Indiegogo. If you haven't yet, do support Clint. Let's get him to 25,000. He's almost done. Look at this. He's got 666 backers. Oh no.
So I'm going to piggyback on this one, and I've talked about this before. I'm freaking heartless when it comes to spending my money. I've gone years without buying one of Ethan's books. You do Bat Cow. What was it? Bat Cow?
That was Dan DiDio's idea. I didn't want to do that.
I'm not buying that. No. I bought your Green Lantern because it was a cool story and the art was really good. So I knew Sweetcast. He's like, I got a Indiegogo. I go, oh, jeez. And then I looked at it. The art's solid, but then the story, like he did a little pitch, like a 3-minute pitch for the story, and I was like, this is not like, I think you're cool. This legitimately looks good. And that's the only reason I buy anything. I don't care if I knew you for 20 years. If I don't like your story, I'm not buying it.
So you never were gonna buy my bad cow story because you just didn't like it. Are you telling me you don't think this looks like a cowardly lot? Get it? And there he is, or she is.
I hate cutesy pie stuff. You're an awesome artist. When they get you on Batman, it should have been the most awesome, badass, the Killing Joke
Sure,
2 type of
but
story.
this isn't awesome. Here's
No.
the thing. Like, they want to do cutesy pie, and I won't do that. Like, if you say, Ethan, it's bat cow, I'm gonna legit draw a cow, and it's not gonna be cute. And look at the bat symbol over his eyes.
I've
Her
seen
eyes.
this before. You did your best job, but it's still a bat cow.
Here's the whole story. Oh, look how good it is. Somebody actually published all the art. It's not that good. What am I talking about? This sucks. The fuck is this? This is horrible. Car skids out, smashes into a tree. Zach, I'm glad you didn't buy it because I'm showing it to you right now. All right.
I can't see it. I'm still looking at my
Oh, that's right. You're not. I keep thinking you can watch this. Back cow is sitting here. Look. Oh no, there's a cow in the road. There's a bit. This is the troublesome part right here. By the way, that looks just like Mike S. Miller. They've stole a car and there's a baby in the road. Okay. I mean, there's a baby in its car seat. That baby belongs to a mama. And they're shooting guns at people. Oh, this panel right here, by the way, and I know you can't see it, Zach. I had my son pose for this. I don't usually do reference like this, but I had my son Hunter get a gun, real gun, but he was practicing trigger discipline, and fire a gun out of my Ford Explorer, and that was the reference for this image right here. A lot of people are interested in that, I'm sure. But here it is again: bat cow eating the reflection of the bat in the moon. What am I talking about? I'm great. Zach, why wouldn't you buy this? It was good. No? Okay. No, it wasn't good.
No.
But Clint Stoker's Downcast is good. It is good.
That's his real name, by the way.
Yeah. What do you think about that? What do you think about actually pre-doxing yourself at this point?
Eh?
Yeah, I wonder. It gives people less of a target. It's like
I mean, if you can come out and just be, I mean, my favorite manga artist, I've been following his stuff since the 90s. I don't know his real name. He has a pen name, Masamune Shirow. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him.
Yeah.
He does like a little cartoon drawing of himself, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, here's what Clint did anyway. Clint put up his campaign. He talks about it every single day, and he's actually just an incredible success. He does not have that many subscribers or followers. He just doesn't. He's got a small social media presence, but still, he was able to basically get almost everyone that follows him to back his comic book, and that.
Well, one of the things is, especially when you're newer. Honestly, I don't really think the subscriber number matters because there's people who have 2 million subscribers and they have 60,000 average views. Average views is the big deal. My average views are probably like 10, 11, 12,000 per video. And by an incredible coincidence, I've sold 10,000. 11,500 copies of Jawbreaker. So you see that your average viewers are pretty much all going to buy your book, which is amazing.
That's interesting. I didn't think of it that way. Cyberfrog Blood Honey, by the way, is doing great. Oh, it's almost at 190, Zach.
Oh, great.
What if it gets to 190? That'd be cool. If you guys haven't backed Cyberfrog Blood Honey yet.
Wait. Your new one?
Yeah.
Your new one is at 190,000?
No, it's at $189,491, Zach.
Okay, so it's at 190. The last time I looked at that thing, it was like at 85.
Yeah, it's done very well. In the third variant, I have I've almost caught up to Bigfoot.
Wait, so what is your total for all three? Is it like 900,000 now?
No, it's like 815.
Okay. Jeez.
It's a good start. It's a good start onto our way. I mean, the thing is, this book has to come out and it has to smoke. It just has to smoke, man. Everybody has to love it. Did you see the first page lettered? No, you didn't.
Yeah. No, it's the one with the planet on it, right? The sun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
All right, let me read it to you, Zach. And we'll see if you, by the way, this is a frog in his underpants. Okay. You can't see it, Zach. All right, I'm going to read this to you, and you tell me, look at all these people being rude. You tell me if this is good. All right, this is my writing, and I am not a writer, by the way. I'm so nervous about writing all the time. But I'll tell you, after seeing it lettered, does this make you happy to see your own page, like your own writing, like lettered down on pages?
Oh yeah, letter for people who don't know, if you haven't made a comic, so you write it, it gets drawn, it gets colored, and then it gets lettered, and you see it in every stage, and it's always very exciting. But there's something about the lettering. It's like when you build the Frankenstein's monster, and then you finally get the electricity to go into it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
alive. It's a
yeah,
comic book page. It's not a drawing.
yeah.
It's a comic, and it's
It has
freaking
context.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. This is Chelsen's voice. Chelsen is a living spacecraft. Okay, she has a womb. That's the crazy thing about these machines. She says this is recorded for posterity. This is for whatever poor soul survives, suffers, and seeks answers as to why this happened, why this didn't work, what could have gone differently, and this is for who is to blame. I am called Chelsen. I was your last hope, and this is the story of my failure.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
All Caps Comics presents Cyberfuck Blood Honey by Ethan Van Sciver. I'm pretty psyched. So I'm going to get more lettered pages tomorrow. I got to finish writing this thing. I'm like a page and a half still from completion of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. I took a break to work on Vampirella yesterday. And I had to
You
ask.
drew it already?
Well, I started it. It because I started it kind of late at night. I went, you know what? Like, there's so much energy behind this. There's so much energy behind it that, like, people are talking about it. I better get it done right now. And I did this whole thing where Vampirella. Should we do this? All right, I can. This is a comic book show, Zach. We're actually talking comics and we're showing comics. All right, let's talk about this cover. Let's talk about this Vampy cover here. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing. The camera should show this page. Let me see. And Zach, you don't get to join us here. All right, so here's Vampy, and here's the action here. I want her to be, sitting here, kind of almost like becoming a monster, getting ready to fight. I'm gonna have big claws on her hands. And then Salamandroid and Cyberfrog will be behind her as we're looking up, okay, from the ground up at her, as we see wasps, just tons of wasps coming up behind her. There will be honeycombs dripping with honey. She might be kind of in honey. She might have honey on her, and just Cyberfrog and Salamandroid and maybe Heather Swain looking perplexed right here in the kind of behind her, but close. Salamandroid's going to be huge, taking up like most of the background with Cyberfrog kind of hopping up off of his back. I think that's the plan right now. So, I don't know. That's what I'm doing. I know you can't see, Zach. Hey, we got to do
I
something
actually
about that.
peeked over, and I guess I can't see it.
You can see it?
Yeah, it's real small though. I can't really tell what it is.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's get back to what we're doing. Okay. So that's the thing. I just took a break because I wanted to do it. I wanted to get it like get the energy down, start getting excited about it. Start because I mean, look, here's the thing about this. I can do as many of these as I want. It's like I could do another Vampy cover. I could do Panther. I could do any of their characters. I might be able to do John Wick and Cyberfrog. I mean, that would be cool. Thank you, John Malin. John Malin, I think he saw this early, and I had it blue lined yesterday. So yeah. And they're saying her right arm might be too long. Yeah, it's becoming a monster claw. It's becoming a monster arm. And people are saying smaller waist, thicker thighs. All right. A lot of people like have criticisms, like they want the girl to look a certain way. I'm not sure. I kind of see
Wait, are you
Vampirella.
talking about she's being transformed and so her limbs are different proportions?
Yeah. I'm gonna have her arms. Vampirella can
I
become a
I
vampire bat. I mean, she's
I'm I'm on the side of keep her normal proportions.
uh, no, but there are monsters coming. No,
No, it's a
oh,
visual medium. One of her big things is she's a really sexy woman. You
okay.
don't want her looking like that. What is that? Uh, the one with the really long arms. Everyone's doing the
Mars
videos
girl.
about her now.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I don't want her looking like that at all. Not at all. So maybe you're right. All right. So I will fix that, and that's not a problem. I immediately I'm like a DC Comics based artist, so I kind of go hey, Vampirella's in the Justice League route. So you want to show her powers, and you want to make her look tough, and I don't know. Eh, arms girl, everyone's saying, and people are saying Zack is right. By the way, uh, don't give her
Yeah.
no, give her a
My
monster arm. I don't know.
No, yeah, no monster. The thing is, it's your introduction in the 90s, I believe. It's your reintroduction. So I guess keep it straight from the middle. You know what I mean?
You totally say that again, Zach. You
Don't how it
no
up.
no no. Don't say it. Don't say it. Just wait. Sometimes it's like you go robotic, and then everybody misses what what you want to say. All right, try again.
Uh, Saying this is a reintroduction to the character, so keep it straight down the middle. Just do. She looks good. She's powerful. She's sexy.
Yeah,
Don't back cow it up.
you don't want me to bat cow it up. How can you not like this? Dan DiDio was thrilled when he saw this. He was like, "You're
Was he
bringing my
really?
story to life." Yeah, he was. It was his idea. Like Dan is somebody who Dan likes obscure things. Dan likes to take silly things and make them serious. I guess I kind of do too. So he was like, I'm going to do he's the one thing he really liked out of Grant Morrison's Batman run with Frank Quitely was this Bat Cow thing. And Bat Cow was this story where uh, Robin became a vegetarian and he saved a cow from a slaughter mill, brought him back to the
This
Batcave.
already sounds horrible.
Well,
God.
you know, it's an idea, it's an idea. And so yeah, they put a cape on him and named her Bat Cow, I should say. So you don't think that's good?
No, I don't.
Trying to sell you on it, it's not working. Lone Star Solo the Soldier. This is Mike S. Miller's project right now. Look at it rocking $53,821. Lone Star Solo the Soldier, by the way, fantastic new John Malin cover. That
Oh,
Mike
really? He's doing the cover?
he did a cover, yeah, and Mike inked it.
Nice.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's good. Yeah, Mike
I
didn't
haven't
ruin it.
seen that yet.
Mike didn't totally
I know
take.
he did that. John Malin did that master book. He did a cover for it, and it was freaking incredible.
Yeah, John. Every time John Malin does a cover, it's always impressive. The Trixie Kane book he did, Trixie Kane cover was nice, and Flying Sparks was pretty good. This would have been great, but it doesn't look like John Malin anymore. It looks like Mike S. Miller trying to be John Malin a little bit, and that's the danger of this. Mike's like, "Let me ink over your pencils." I'm like, "No, draw it yourself." You know what I mean? What do you think this is? This isn't the 1980s. Why are we collaborating? Why are we collaborating,
That
Zach?
I mean, that could be fun. I remember back in the day, Todd McFarlane used to ink over just like random people. That was always fun.
Yeah, it's kind of
Bob
fun if
Liefeld or
if like there's okay, well those were the days when you had to do 3 pages a day and it didn't really matter. So it's like I gotta bust out 3 pages of pencils and whoever inks it, whatever. This is a more refined time in comics history, Zach, where every single cover is going to be stared at for ages because these are books that are gonna last. They're gonna stand the test of time. So I want to see John Malin purity, the purity of John Malin. That's just my opinion, Zach. You know, I'm an art snob. I want John Malin and I don't want anyone messing them up. I'm not saying that Mike Miller messed them up. I'm just saying I want my John Malin pure. And here, look at this. Here's the inks. Do we have a penciled version of this at all? If John Malin said, Ethan, do you want to ink my stuff? I'd be like, no, I don't. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare.
I mean,
but that is
he's all the job work and stuff, and it's amazing. I haven't seen him. I think he eats his cable stuff as well.
Yeah. And by the way, I am just kidding. It does look good. I just like to mess with Mike. I like to mess with Mike, but I do prefer John inking his own stuff. I prefer everyone inking their own stuff. I think that's important. Now, Mike Miller's trying something different, Zach. He's like, all right, I got a bunch of variant covers on the way, but I'm going to release them later on into the campaign. And he did something that he had an idea, and Andrea was actually talking to me about it in the car. She's like, did you see that Mike handed out secret codes to the first 1,000 backers of his original campaign? I was like, well, what did the secret codes do? She's like, you can plug in that code and you have an opportunity to buy something rare. I was like, wow. She said, that's a really good idea. She said, that's a good way to stay engaged with your customers. Would you do something like that?
No. I like things to be real simple. I got the last 2 campaigns have just been basically like book and one thing.
Yeah. Some people in the chat are saying, I hate Mike because of that. Oh, wow. A lot of people hate Mike. Mike is always trying.
One of the things that it's one of those things you just got to learn. What bothers people and what doesn't is, I know I'm bringing up the Dark Rose, which was interesting time. But anyway, at the time, the thing that people didn't like about it is they didn't like that you had to get invited to it. They go, what? I listen to you all the time. I don't have, because, there was like I had a caveat, it says it was private and you had to have already emailed me. So I knew you. So that really bothered people. There's all these kind of peculiar, like people hate it when you take a video down and don't tell them why. Or that's like a huge faux pas. Your most loyal subscriber would be like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And they'll be like really angry. It's like, okay, that's like a cultural thing I did not know about. So yeah.
I still deal with that all the time. Like listening to the Quartering telling me that, hey, you got to take your live streams down because they're killing your algorithm. People say, why? And why do you do that? Well, here's what kills your algorithm. Here's what kills your YouTube channel. People clicking away. So, if you do a video and everyone tells you this, you have to get right to the point right away. If you want your channel to grow, hey, my video is called Why Downcast is Totally Awesome. It's going to save the world. And then, as soon as the video starts, I need to be like, Downcast is awesome. It's going to save the world because blah, 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 blah. You got to give them something right away.
I think I'm going to leave the podcast stuff until like the middle.
Yeah, Zach, for real, because new subscribers come in and they go, I don't want to hear this. I wanted to hear about Captain Marvel, turn into Carl Manverse.
I'm going to try that out.
They click away. Now, clicking away just sends a poisonous message to YouTube, the algorithm. It says this content isn't interesting. They're not even staying long enough to look at any ads that we place in there. So F this. And that's why channels don't grow. So that's why you take down live streams, because they're 3 hours long and inevitably people are going to click away. Nobody's going to watch the whole thing. So the YouTube algorithm only hears, they only watch 10% of this video. And it doesn't matter if 10% of this video is 20 minutes or 20 seconds. It's still only 20% of the video. And you suffer for that. Mark C's like hitting me up with a lot of money tonight. Thank you. He says, aggravated at Mike over the covers. I wanted to show my support, so I backed early as much as I wanted. Now I want an EVS cover and my Lone Star budget is gone. Yeah, that Andrea actually said that too.
You're doing a cover?
Yeah, I'm doing a Lone Star cover. Here's what Andrea said. Andrea said the problem with that is that some people aren't following what Mike's doing very closely. And so let's say that they like your cover and they want your cover and your cover's coming up last. What if they just refund Mike's cover to buy yours?
Yeah.
Refunding costs money. You know, it actually costs money. It's you get hit with a credit card fee of 30 cents. So every time somebody refunds you, you lose 30 cents. And if a lot of people are refunding you, that adds up. So that, you know, it actually is kind of a scary thing. It's a chance that you're taking,
My
you know.
philosophy on this is prove you can do something simple and then but like I'm sorry. I hate when I go to a campaign and then you have to scroll down like 3 times to see all the perks. I go, what? I'm
Mhm.
not smart. I can't remember things. Like
Yeah.
if there's more than 2 things, then I get confused. So it's like I understand book, book and poster, book, 2 books. Okay, I'm not confused. I understand the difference between 1 and 2, and I understand the difference between a book and a poster. Anything more than that, I just take
That was something you
You know what
said
I do?
early on.
I do
Yeah.
the click away. I say, I'll come back to this later because I'm confused right now or I don't have time. And
Mhm.
then do you actually come back? Yes or no?
No, you don't come back. You get distracted like by a squirrel, and then you know, you never come back, and that is the problem. This is something, but another thing. Since, by the way, the title of this chat is ComicsGate Millionaire Boot Camp Live with EVS and your boy Zack, and that's why we're trying to tell you, pass on any good ideas that we
I
have
gotta
about.
tell you, when you get to the rest of that article and if you do watch the video,
Mhm.
you're gonna freak out because you're gonna realize what a percentage we are of literally saving the industry. You can literally point to it.
Well, you know, we should go back and look at that. But first, I want to just say that, you know, uh, the simplicity is one of the things that you preached early on about Jawbreakers. You said you'd done a super crowdfunder before, and your biggest mistake was that you made it too complicated.
Yeah.
Now I look at Brian Polito's Coffin Comics Kickstarters, and they look incredibly complicated. And I know he does well.
Well, the thing with that is, I think he has really good fulfillment, and
Mhm.
he makes his customers happy. So I think they learn it over time.
Yeah.
But I think he's on his like 10th one. I think he does one every like 4 or 5 months, and he's got this oiled. He's got it nailed down. And he has like 20 different things, but his I think he's getting the same people to come back for every single one, which is freaking incredible. I think those things do like $200,000 in a day.
What, you know why that is?
Like he'll put it up and
He's labeled his audience. He's made them into a club.
he's proven himself. Yeah,
He's like, "You're
amazing.
whatever you are. You're a monster maniac," or whatever he calls his fans. He'll call them crypt somethings, and then you know, it's like, "Hey, you're one of those." He gave his audience an identity, made them part of a fan club for his work. Who doesn't like that? Everybody likes that. So that's a good reason
Yeah.
why he's out there promoting. He's able to tell his fans, "Come be here. You know, come to this new campaign." Obi-Wan, thank you for $20. Zach's simple is good, but I think more bulk and retail style options should be good. If doing variant covers in the same campaign, offer a retail bulk package with all the covers signed by each artist. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That, I've heard that several times. That to put up a retailer option, it's something I could definitely do in the future. Like I said, one of the things is, I had some hiccups. I had some learning opportunities. So I'm trying to really dial it down because it's not just me being dumb and getting confused. Every single stage, every single new thing is, to confuse the fulfillment center. Oh, I messed up the posters last time because I said, oh, it's 1 and 2 and it's 2 and it's 1 and the 2 is 4, and they did what I said, but I didn't say what I meant. You know what I mean? So it was me confusing them. They did what they were contracted to do. I definitely think a retailer is a great idea. And the thing is, you can also do these secret perks on Indiegogo, where you can say, "Hey, if you're a retailer, hit me up, and I'll give you the link to that."
By the way, the chat is very impressed with you. They said Zach's IQ is 3,000 and his tears cure cancer. Um, Wow, that's
It's not actually a legally
high
binding.
praise. It's high praise, though. It's high praise. Let me read some super chats, and then we're going to get back to this. Let's see. Somebody said, "What it do to you?" You want to answer that?
Do what it do.
Yeah, Zebulon Pike. It do what it do. Prophet of God. Oh no, Rodent Slayer. No, Demented for Fun says only one day left on Downcast. Let's get it to the 25K club. We're $50 away from. No, are we? I don't know where we're at there. We're close. Rodent Slayer says 7 hours to go to get 7 hours left to get a Song of Mice and Fur on Indiegogo. Discworld meets Animal Farm meets Calvin Hobbes. Get a Song of Mice and Fur on Indiegogo now. Prophet of God says, Ethan, I'm working on a comic. How can I contact you? Sir, you are speaking to me now. Right, Zach? I mean, you don't need a Ouija board. You know, I'm right here. You can contact me on email. My email address is ethan12032@gmail.com. You know, feel free to do that. Etheris Fox says, congrats on the house, EVS. Thank you. Zach, I got a house today.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, I finally bought a house. We went house shopping. You called me up one time when we were house shopping. We had a nice chat while we're driving around this kind of pretty nice neighborhood. And the whole time, you know what my weirdo fantasy was? My weirdo fantasy was as I was looking at these enormous mansions, and they all had plenty of room, big backyards. They were new builds. They were, in the woods. I was thinking to myself, I wish all the comics gators would buy a house in this neighborhood so that we could get together for barbecues and pool parties and talk about selling comics. And then I went, that's not going to happen because everyone lives in different states. But it would be nice, wouldn't it?
I think it would be a
No,
little weird.
it wouldn't be weird. You guys could come over and or I'd come over to your house, and no, all right, yeah. I didn't get to go to college, Zach, so I didn't get the dorm experience. I didn't get to hang out with everyone. It's part of something's missing from my life, pal. I'll be okay. The Ryan Cardinal, thanks for $10. Says big eyes, speed lines. That's my jam. Be sure to keep an eye out for my upcoming comic on Indiegogo called Chaos: Story of Blood and Stone. It launches next week on May 7th. Ethan, check out the trailer. Mark Frazier says manga is great. If it's terrible, at least it ends. That's true of everything. Installation 7 says, Ethan, check out Forever People #3. Kirby's crazy, albeit awesome tale is weirdly similar to our present day circumstances. I'm not kidding. Forever People #3. All right, I will. Sporkman, okay, I read that one. Joe Lugo says, Renfamous asked me what a thought was, and I answered with, you. I got an immediate 12-hour van, LMAO. Yeah. That was a trap, I think. Microaggressor says, zombies, werewolves, wolfmen, they're all in Tales from the Classroom. My upcoming Monsters in High School comic. Follow at Rob Muerto for updates. Trashfire Comics says, Rainbow Brute Red Sonja cover collab with Kanan. Oh, shit. Well, of course. Can you imagine, Zach?
Yeah, you talking about Kanan White?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's freaking fantastic.
He's one of the best artists in ComicsGate. I want to say
I would
he's
just
the
say
best.
one of the best artists in comics. Just cut it right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I want to own him.
One of the weirdest and kind of saddest things right now is, you get an artist. I've got this great artist I'm working with. I've worked with great artists, and you go, what if he gets gobbled up?
Mhm.
And then you realize there's no one to gobble him up. DC shrunk by 20%. We pay better than all the indies do. Marvel is hiring trash artists. Like, it's the saddest thing. Like, I kind of like these people we work with, they should be working on Batman 2 months later, but everything's kind of broken right now.
Yes, indeed. By the way, that I want to get back to I want to get back to the article that we're reading because that just makes me wonder. I think to myself, what in the world caused this increase to happen when did DC Comics announce that they were cutting back? Was that this year or was it last year?
It was like 2 months ago.
Okay, so yeah, it was this year.
The supposed reason is they can't find enough good artists, but no, it's not it.
Well, I mean, it might be kind of it. There's, they're producing what they're kindly trying to say is that comics is currently flooding the shelves with shit, and for whatever reason. I mean, is it
Well,
because
yeah, Dan Didio started to talk about that, and then he like pulled back, like I don't know, Marcus of Queensberry rules. It's like Marvel is absolutely flooding the shelves, which is pushing people out, and it's pushing DC out, and then people are just not showing up. Um, and I don't understand why you would have a competitor hurt you and not like say it.
yeah, like I don't. Well, he's gonna have to deal with the fallout from that. These people care about social media, dude. If Dan DiDio were to ever come out and say, you know what, Marvel is fucking up the entire industry by just flooding the shelves with shit, 3 times as much terrible, awful material as they should be putting out, and we're gonna act responsibly and cut ours in half to make up for the people would be like, Dan is a monster. Dan is he's out there trashing Marvel Comics out of jealousy. It's jealousy. He's an incel uh, and a bigot, and that's what they would say. So you have to watch what you say these days. You can't tell the truth. You can't tell the truth. This guy said, "Who's Refimus says, what's the thought?" And he said, "You." That's the truth, and he got banned. So you get punished for things, Zach. You get punished, as you know, from the dark roast. You get punished for the truth. Time Code Mechanic says, Ethan, don't forget. Sorry, buddy. Don't forget Epitaph Bread and Salt. My supernatural sci-fi action comic is on Indiegogo now with an alternate cover by Zack's boy Ebi Canalis. Is that how to pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. James says, I'm interested in #1 or trades with variant cover. That's what he's buying. So let's see. Jeremiah Jones says Paranormals over on Brian Shearer's channel. Thank you for sending people away from my own. Matt Wenger said, thanks for $5. Back Super Harem, the comic that is driving SJWs insane. And it is. That book, this guy has an idea. Zach, this is pure trouble. It's pure trouble. His idea is, hey, I have a guy who, when he has sex with girls, gives them superpowers. So like his seed, his essence, you know what I mean? His masculine essence doesn't give these women babies. It gives them superpowers. Now that would be a good line. You know what I mean? Why is Zach quiet? Zach, you don't like that idea? Are you still here? Zach, did you leave? I think Zach left. He does that sometimes. Mark Frazier says Transformers, Voltron, Ninja Turtles were all manga. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Saggy Bones, thanks for $1.99 donation. Metal Movies and Brewskis, thanks for $5. Pick up a floppy, a Butch Cleaver, Rune Cutter Comics Facebook store. A 90s inspired fantasy horror western. Yeah, Zach died. No, he's here. I see him. I don't know. Any number of things could have happened. Hopefully he'll come back in. He'll relaunch and come back in. Jen Devereaux X says your boy Zach is 64 from 100K subs. Yeah, we were able to get him way over that now, and I'm grateful. Thank you guys. People just need to know. One of the things about marketing is just it's about telling people. It's about telling people about stuff. I'm studying a lot of good advertisers. There was this guy who wrote Eisenhower's political speeches in the 1950s for television. He marketed. His name was Rosser Reeves. He marketed Ike Eisenhower for television so that he could win the presidency. Okay, and he said, "Look, he's like, what is it about Franklin Delano Roosevelt's initial inaugural address that people remember?" He's like, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. That's a 15-second spot. He's like, that's all it is. That's all it comes down to is just that 15-second spot. And if that's what it is, If that's what people remember, if that's what democracy means, let's just tell more people. We need more pithy phrases like that that define how people feel about freedom, about democracy. That's what sells, a political candidate, and indeed, things like that are kind of what sell, YouTube channels, content, and comic books as well. Advertising is incredibly important. Getting through to people quickly, having a clickbait title that's actually fulfilled but leaves you in suspense, in the first few moments. That's important too. Let's see. Mark C, thank you for that. Jimmy Owens. Ethan, will you ever do brutally honest portfolio reviews again? Loved it. They take so long, Jimmy. A brutally honest portfolio review is like a 45-minute video usually, and it takes me about 2 hours to make one. And I just don't really have the time anymore as much as I want to. I'm just doing so much. I can promise you that I will do them again, but I don't know when that's going to be. And I do have a few portfolios that are backed up. Joe Lugo says Nick streams when we are drunk and loose with our money. LMAO. That's what it is. That's why you guys throw money at that guy like crazy. And thank you for throwing money at me tonight. This is all going towards the house. Muttman says, Uncle E, I'd love for you to check out Hero, Blood of Patriots on Indiegogo. It's pro-America, pro-military, undead super soldier fun. And congrats, Zack, on 100K. Cyborg Patriot says ComicsGate equals 3.34% of $80 million. Caesar plus Zack equals 1.6% of 80 million. Hail War Campaign. Thank you, Cyborg Patriot. Those are good numbers to know. So ComicsGate is almost 3.5% of the increase of the recovery of comics, and just me and Zack alone are almost 2% of the recovery. So that's pretty exciting. Mark C says Rambo Last Blood comes out later this year. Dude, I am all over that movie. I'll tell you that the last Rambo movie was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just getting up there on the, what was it, 30 caliber?
No, he's on the 50 cal.
50
so
cal.
that was one of those ones where it had been gone for a while and it came back, and I was actually in the army at the time. And I was like, I don't know. And then I saw it, and it's just it's probably the best one out of all four.
Definitely. It was so violent, man. That it was like when the violence, when all of that stuff was happening, you were like, yes, it built up to it so nice. And man, they've got a long way to go. I really hope I got big shoes to fill for Rambo Last Blood, but I will be all over that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, things have been pretty good. Like I have to say, they're bringing back Deadwood for a movie at the end of this month. I'm excited. They're bringing back The Sopranos. I can't believe they're doing a Sopranos movie, Saints of Newark. And they're bringing back all this stuff from the 80s that's I don't know, man, it's just vital. Twin Peaks was great too. So I'm glad and Ghostbusters. All right. Did you I'm sorry. I missed your message, Zack. So Zack actually pinged me and said I'll be back in 4 minutes. And I totally missed it. I was talking to you and I was like, hello. All right, let me see here. A few more of these super chats and then we'll get right back to the show. John David says $2 for that music stream last night. Yeah, I'm telling you, one of the wonderful things about what I do, I'm not, people like, you're a comic book. No, I'm an artist. I'm a creative person. Not to be too pretentious, but like filmmaking and making music, writing songs, playing piano, playing guitar, all of this stuff flows through me, man. And to just get up and go, I have an audience. I can just put my phone up there and then play piano for 20 minutes to an audience that's big enough to fill a large room. That's a privilege. So thank you for coming to that music stream. It was goofy and it was fun. Diversity and Cecil says my voice has launched 10,000 fantasies. Yeah, Zack, Cecil.
Yes.
Cecil's a controversial character, and again, really? He is. I know he seems
something happened while I was. I didn't hear that.
He's a man of mystery.
I heard he had a video that did like 300,000 views.
Oh yeah. I think he did a Cecil.
Captain Marvel as everyone's ex-wife.
Oh my God, yeah. He took that line from me.
He did.
Yes, I said that. I said she's like your ex-wife. Well, he said everyone's ex-wife, so that's, you know, I don't know, that's more broad, but yeah, like 300,000. Those I was talking to Andrew about this, so I talked to Andrew about everything, but I was like, look, there are people out there. My biggest video right now is a Captain Marvel video, and it's like anti Brie Larson, and it's almost at 500,000 views. And
Yeah,
look,
almost all my big ones are Captain Marvel. It's just something just kind of she encapsulates a lot of things.
people want to hate on Brie Larson. Like there's some things that people, and there are hate objects that people enjoy. I'm one of them. I mean, these SJWs like to get together and commune with one another by hating on me, you know. And it's like, how does it feel to be a hate object? Not great, but at least, you know, you're not irrelevant. I mean, people are talking about you. Brie Larson is a hate object for most normal people. I mean, she's just extremely obnoxious. She's arrogant. She thinks she's the Rosa Parks of superheroes. She thinks she has a mission in life to save women through superhero movies. She's an idiot.
Did you see the interview with Jeremy Renner where he just shut her down?
No. What did he say?
So they were doing one of those junkets, and you know, the junkets is they do like 15 minutes with like 20 different journalists, and that's why a lot of times you ever seen the one where Ben Affleck is just staring out into space?
Yes. Yeah.
It's because that was like his 20th interview that day, and he's just lost it.
Yeah.
But some guy he was kind of kissing ass. He's like, "You're so important. You have so much influence. Do you believe that is a responsibility?" And she's just smelling her own farts, and she's like, "Oh yes, I do this and that." And then she finishes, and Jeremy Renner's basically like, he just basically was like, "Dude, I'm like a plumber. It's just a job. I don't have to prove my." He goes, "I think my morals are pretty solid, but it's just a job. It's no big deal." And it was actually a lot more shade because she literally like makes a face like, "Oh."
That's
and
awesome.
if you see the movie, she's not in it. I think that's why there were all these interviews where the other actors seemed kind of bothered with her.
Yeah.
She's in, I forget the character, the black woman with the shaved head. They're both in it the exact same amount of time, like 5 minutes of the movie.
And you
but
don't
they
know
put
what
Brie
her name
Larson
is.
in every single. She's the Wakandan. She's a general in the Wakandan
But
army.
what's the actress's name? That's the point. Like that's not on the tip of anyone's tongue.
Yeah.
You know.
So Brie Larson's in 5 minutes, but she's in every single press junket interview, and you can tell the rest of the cast was just getting sick of her shit.
Yeah, I mean she's a profoundly obnoxious human being, and you know, what's weird about it, there have been obnoxious human beings before who are, you know, despicable celebrity types, but when the SJWs come to her rescue and start calling people who point out that she is obnoxious incel, you realize you've uncovered a wasp. You know, a wasp's nest of SJWs. You found the hive. You've kicked the hive. This is one of theirs. This is one of the flags that they planted. You know, God damn these people.
Speaking of incel, that's actually one of the things that keeps making it into all the filed documents in the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, you know, on that crazy day a year ago, somebody made a joke, and then I responded as a joke. It's so obviously a joke that I put it in quotations, and I tweeted "to me, comma my incel army," and I put in quotes. So it was so obvious that it was like a bit.
Right.
And then, like in almost all the documents, they've had a little picture of this, and they're like, "Incel is a reference to a terrorist hate group." Like
what the
like
hell?
An obvious joke. They're just spamming whatever they can put in there.
But
it's
incels, what are incels? Like I made the mistake of actually saying, "Hey, what do you here what do incel, what does that mean?" It means involuntarily celibate. So when I think about that, I think about boys in wheelchairs, like really like sad, you know, uh people who are not going to have sex, and they're, you know, and they would like to have sex, but for whatever reason, maybe they were born just hideously ugly, or they're not. So I hear incel, and I'm like, why are you scorning these people? Why would you mock these people? That's a very sad thing. And it's like, oh, so you like incels? What the hell is an incel? What is it? I don't understand what it is. If it's not, it doesn't seem to be what it says it is. Like
yes, it's a reference to a reference. It's just it's just kind of funny and sad because the main lawyer that I've interacted with, he seems like a normal, nice guy, and I just feel bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like like they're like, "Ooh, put this one in. It means a hate army," and he's just like, "Oh, jeez, fine, whatever. We'll put it in there towards the back somewhere."
Yeah. A hate army. Incel hate. So I've come to understand that incels are misogynists, that they are choosing not to have sex with women because they hate women. So why are they involuntarily celibate? Why aren't they voluntarily celibate?
This is just Twitter idiocy making its way into the real world and instantly evaporating. It's just, none of this stuff works in the real world.
I really don't understand SJWs because yeah, again, what I think there's a tweet of me saying, "Why are you guys picking on incels?" That's really sad. And the reason is because, well, I have empathy, and there again, I think sex is what life is all about. I mean, ultimately, what it boils down to, sex is family. It leads to everything good in life. You build a family, you create a home, and so ultimately, like to not have that in your life is torturous. I mean, it's awful. So why would you make fun of somebody who wants to have sex?
It's just another reason to hate someone and try to destroy people. Like I said, because one of the things that gets pulled on you, it's like, well, you call people this and they call people this. Well, when you call someone an SJW, it doesn't prevent them from getting a job or renting an apartment. You know
Oh,
what I
no.
mean?
Yeah.
But the things they call us destroy lives. I don't know if you saw, I did a video on you earlier where one of the guys obsessed with you, he was calling you the usual things, and then people just like show the proof, and then he just dropped it immediately.
Yeah, these people say lately they're after me because of the Dynamite, cover situation, which is just not even that big a deal. I don't know why they care, but they're saying things like, he harasses professionals. I just want to be left alone. I would like to actually say that aloud. Like, I mean, what would I don't harass professionals. I would like to be left alone by my fellow professionals and those orbiting them. I mean,
I
ultimately,
saw one of those weirdos. They got angry because of a variant cover. They talked about they wish you would get your hand chopped off or something
yeah,
insane.
that was Patrick Zurcher.
Where does this come from? This is insanity. Can you imagine working at, I don't know, Aetna Life Insurance? You work
Yeah,
on the third floor.
yeah,
The other guy you kind of know, you see him in the break room.
yeah,
You come in, he's saying, "I don't like that Ethan guy who works in, invoices. I hope
yeah.
he gets his hands chopped off." What would happen if you said that at a regular job in a regular industry?
I really don't understand it. Like, I see the hatred, and I'm
And
just
when's the
like,
last year you talked to this guy? Do you exchange 2 tweets a year ago?
no, Patrick Zurcher. I think I've criticized some things that he said, but I leave people alone. And honestly, my whole thing is to just make money and make comics, and then help ComicsGate. And I know people disagree with ComicsGate, but fuck them. You're allowed to disagree with that, and I'm allowed to disagree with what you're about. What you're not allowed to do is interfere with our business. That's rude. And then to harass people who belong to this movement. We're not bothering you. Why are you bothering us? This is what you're talking about here. This Patrick Zurcher, Superman artist. Dynamite. Look at this language. I don't think I deserve this. I don't like to. I don't live in self pity, Zach, at all. But I'm shocked at how evil this stuff sounds, and I think to normal people, I think they just do it to impress each other. Dynamite just threw every troll living vicariously through Ethan, a guy who calls himself Caesar. Now I do. By the way, Zach, now I do. I didn't initially call myself Caesar, but now I'm calling myself Caesar.
Well, what is their deal with? Again, this is Twitter thing. We have to live in this world where nothing's a joke, nothing's a bit, nothing's tongue in cheek.
Yeah,
Like, why doesn't he just say that you're trying to take, like, isn't a Caesar, isn't a leader of a country? He's trying to take over America. Like, if you're gonna be, what is he, like 58, playing neighborhood of make believe? Like,
yeah. Look at this.
the
So
hell?
here's imagine that I'm doing this with no humor whatsoever. Like, this is what they're trying to impart, that I have. Like, anybody who watches my show knows my sense of humor. So imagine that I'm humorlessly calling myself Caesar, and with fury cutting the heads off of toys. Okay.
I can't even with this adults pretending to be terrified shit. You
It's
do a bit. It's a bit. It's a comedy bit.
That's correct. And I did it like, well, now I'm going to do it more. I can't. Now I'm going to do it
It
more.
was really funny when you bought metal ones and you didn't know they were metal. That was freaking hilarious.
That was a joke too, and they didn't even get that. I was like, the joke was, I bought a case of these, and I only bought one, and there's no way I'm cutting it up. And it clearly says, it was made of metal on the box, and it's heavy. And the joke was, oh no, my scissors aren't going to cut through this. Oh, I've got like wire cutters in the garage. That was the joke. That was a joke.
Well, when you ordered, you didn't know they were metal, right?
No, I bought it at the Disney store, so I
So you
knew.
you knew. Okay. To me, it was funny because I thought you just ordered it on Amazon and you got there. You're like, what the hell? These things are made out of metal.
Right. No. I'm keenly aware of all Tico merchandise, and that was
Okay.
the one thing I didn't have. So I saw it at the Disney store, and I went, "Oh, it's on sale. I'm going to get this other Tico."
By the
So,
way, I know we've talked about this, but just as a sidebar,
mhm,
the SJW politics and propaganda is so insane. The actress who plays Tico is beautiful,
yeah. Look at
absolutely
her.
beautiful. And what did they do to her? They basically made her like, they're like, let's take every part of you and make it opposite. Let's put you in a potato sack unitard. Let's
Yeah.
give you the most ridiculous, stupid. The thing about haircuts is, okay, I'm someone who's supposed to talk about haircuts, but especially for a woman, is that it's supposed to, if you got a wide face, you do this haircut. If you've got a skinny face, you do this haircut. Like they
Yeah.
purposefully made her look as bad as they could. And then they said, oh, look at this incel hate army. It's like, you did that to her. She's beautiful.
Yeah, like you made her, and by the way, you put her on the screen when you first meet Tico in The Last Jedi. Like snot is coming out of her nose. She's crying, like her entire face is swollen and red and wet. And it's disgusting, and she looks weird, and the whole thing is unsettling. And then what people don't talk about is what Rose Tico actually symbolized in the movie. Tico symbolized the fascist enforcement, of a volunteer army. Now,
Yeah, she was tattletaling on people who wanted to leave the worst led military in the history of fiction.
she was shocking them. She was given a taser to shock them, Zach. If they tried to leave, she had a weapon. You see Tico
Some
holding that
some
weapon.
farmer from Dantooine says, "Oh, I'll fight against the First Order." Volunteers, leaves his family. He gets there. It's the most incompetent command structure you've ever seen. It's ridiculous. It was a woman who has an issue with men who doesn't want to tell him a secret because he's a man. And then what does she do? She blows up their biggest ship. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah,
And
it
if
was
you
a
try to leave,
sacrifice.
she's like, "Look, there's no escape. We're not going to get out of this alive." Rose Tico, here's a cattle prod. Uh, Stun anyone who tries to flee. And she's like, "Okay, fuck you." You know what I mean? Like everything about Rose Tico is horrible. And people like Mark Wade actually said, he's like, just because of Rose Tico, she's my new favorite character. I feel happier than I've ever felt in a long, long time. Well, it's because she's Asian. She was like an ugly character. She was a hateful character, and she didn't make any sense. Like she should have been.
And
I
then they
mean,
had her sister, who was beautiful. They made her look beautiful. She was heroic. She did this awesome opening scene with the bomb release. It fell down, and she fell down, and she was able to make it happen. Write her out in first 11 minutes.
absolutely incredible, incredible how they did that. It almost seems like a conspiracy, but I'm not paranoid. I'm not. So all right. So back to Patch Zurcher here. He says a guy who's been slamming the comics biz for a year. And you know who said this to me? I always wonder what they say about me. These weirdos, my fellow comic pros. A guy and Scott Kurtz said this. He said, "Can you stop whipping the comic book industry?" And I find that to be so cruel for them to say that to me. And again, I'm not somebody who likes to whine. I'm not
Well, I
somebody
mean,
who likes to
it's a
complain.
good and actually, I like that time we were talking to Scott Kurtz. I'd like to talk to him again. But what he gave is a very honest rendition of how they feel. They were very happy to run this industry into the ground.
Yeah,
And me and you are disruptors. We were causing problems. We were pointing out, chasing away, hey, maybe don't call the customers Nazis. Maybe
yeah,
don't brag about blocking them. Maybe hire people that are proven sellers, not people who are awful. And it was a big, big problem. And that's why it's so delicious that after 3 years of sales going down, who did they have to turn to? You and me and our success, and Mitch and Doug and John and who else was out last year? I don't know if Tim Lim was out
Everybody.
last year or this year, but they had the My Hero Macadamia. They had Red Rooster. They had Bigfoot Bill, Graveyard Shift, Lone Star. What were the other big ones from last year?
I can't even
Cyberfrog,
remember now. Yeah.
Jawbreakers, Iron Sights. You put all those together, it's $2 million, and that is if we do get to that. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like they're saying that $20 million was from $20 million that saved the comic book industry was from crowdfunding, and we were 2 million of that.
Yeah, it is amazing, and it also kind of just agrees with and underscores what we've been saying, that, and you know, what I've been saying. I don't think you're saying this as much, but I'm saying that the whole industry, first of all, the direct market is gone. It's going to die, and people really need to adapt.
It's
and
really unfortunate. It's gone. We spent a year with Move the Needle. Move the Needle was designed to save comic book stores.
Yeah.
It was designed to save the direct market, and the 12 psychopaths on Twitter pressured every single pro who used it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, hashtag Move the Needle is white supremacy. Crazy thing. But what they do, by the time, you know, the 20th time you've been told that, you go, oh, geez, it's more trouble than it's worth.
Why fight it?
And they give in.
Yeah.
And Move the Needle was meant to have stores know who's buying what, prove that promote their store. And these psychopaths destroyed it. And the same psychopaths who destroyed the direct market, who have slit the throats of these, now they come to us for the 80 million. Oh, 80 million. We're up 80 million. Well, here's 2 million. And guess who it came from?
Yeah.
And again, everyone, please check our math, because I wouldn't call either one of us mathematicians, but 2 million out of 80 million, that's saving an industry. That's, what is that? 3.5%, 4%.
Yeah,
that's significant.
That's exactly right.
Imagine saying, you know, you save 3.5% of the car industry.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So the guy who's been slamming the comics biz for a year. All right. Well, look. Here's what happened to me. I voted for Donald Trump, and the industry lost its mind. And you guys, a bunch of you, collaborated to get everyone in comics to agree. Well, not everyone, but you got a bunch of people with names to agree never to work with me again. That's what you did. And then you presented that to DC Comics. You presented that stand, the comic book industry, deciding that the best way to get me out of it was for everyone to agree to isolate me and not work with me. And you presented that to DC, and DC said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I could do by myself, but there are people who will work with me. But you kept pushing that. The idea, let's spread more rumors. Ethan is now a Nazi. Not only did he vote for Trump, but he's a Nazi. Oh no, look at this. His signature looks like a swastika. He's a Nazi. Most people just said it is too much trouble for me to get involved with and turn their backs. Nobody stood up for me. None of these people, all of these people uniformly decided I was awful, because it felt pretty good to decide somebody is awful who voted for Trump, and you are currently in emotional tailspin because Trump is your president. So everyone kind of turned their backs. Nobody said, he's not a Nazi. Now, at first, a few people did, but they were shouted down, and that set the example. So this entire comic book industry that I worked in for 25 years decided that it was okay to basically throw me to the wolves because I voted for Trump. And that's all it is. You guys are lying about anything else.
Yeah, well, I actually said that flat out. I said that in my video. You got to check it out. It's a good video. And I said, this is political discrimination. It's not a coincidence that you, John Malin, Mitch Breitweiser, voted for Trump. Mitch drew one picture of Trump. That was it.
Yep. And he
drew one picture. He said, I hope things go well. I hope things, you know, the hurt goes away. And here's for 4 good years. And this guy, Mitch Breitweiser, is on the level with, if you know, what is it, Alex Foster, Milton Caniff.
Yeah. Oh, he's so
good. If this was the 1930s and 40s, he would have a strip in every newspaper and he would be a 1930s millionaire,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
a big deal. And they tried to destroy every single part of his life. His wife, nobody knows her politics. She's never discussed them.
No.
These freaks have
Well,
just tried to destroy her.
she took
Every
a
single
picture of
part of
herself.
her.
This is how brave Elizabeth Breitweiser is, because when her husband was going through this, and when I was going through it, Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life came out, and my friends, the Breitweisers, took a picture of themselves reading my book and tweeted it out and said, "Congratulations, Ethan."
Cool. Yeah,
That's
best-selling book.
that did in Elizabeth Breitweiser. That sent the message, and they traded that photograph around and decided they were going to target her too. So for this anyway, not only am I to be unpersoned and demeaned and denigrated as a Nazi, somebody who wants to put Jewish people in ovens, like an anti-Semite, a racist, fucking despicable things that I can't stand. I've never been about that. I've never been about that. I've never been a bigot. I've never been racist. I've certainly never been anti-Semitic. I've never been homophobic. These same people either say I'm gay or I'm homophobic, by the way. It's one of the two.
And then think about it. The way they're using gay, they're using it as an insult.
Yeah, like they're making fun of me for possibly being gay. It's like if
People
I
call me
were
gay every
gay,
day. I've been living with a dude for like 9 months.
that's
Call
true.
me gay all day long.
Yeah. If I were gay, I'd be out, man. If I were gay, I'd be like, it would be all I talk about. I would be so happy to be gay. It would be a big part of my identity. What about me makes you think that I'm somebody who hides something, who's ashamed of something about myself?
I gotta say, there was like a 5-year period on Facebook where you were talking about musicals
Yeah,
every
you would know I
single
was
day.
gay. I'd be like, well, I'm gay. That's why I like. No, and it wasn't
Ethel
musical.
Merman.
No, it was Doris
Ethel
Day. It
Merman.
was it was Doris Day. It was not Ethel Merman. I know, I don't like Ethel Merman, but Doris Day, goddess. She's the virginal uh, Marilyn Monroe. Zack. So anyway, so not only that, not only am I a Nazi, and Nazis should be shot. They should not only punched, they should be thrown into I don't know, put into a guillotine. The worst of the worst. So obviously, hurt me if you see me. But Patrick hopes something bad's. I hope the next Van Sciver announcement would be that he lost his drawing hand in a bizarre zoo accident. That's something
Now,
like,
on the one hand, it's just an old cranky guy saying something old and cranky, and that's fine. You're not actually afraid this is going to happen, and magical wishes don't make things happen. But there's different rules for different people. If you said that, if I said that, first of all, it would get exaggerated to someone saying thing like Ethan said he's going to chop off every hand of every cartoonist he sees, and they would run with that forever. They would lie, and they would knowingly lie, and that's what I talk about in this video. Once these people are knowingly lying, that establishes maliciousness, and maliciousness is a huge factor in the law. It multiplies the damages by 3.
yeah. Yeah, it's just so a person who would say that to me, people who would treat me that way, uniformly, are mad at me for beating up on the comics industry.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I only do because I love the comic book industry and I'm concerned about it. Not the comic book club, not the comic book clique, not the comic book society, the comic book
Community,
industry,
they call it a community.
the community. No, not the fucking community, the
That's
comic book
just
industry.
a nice way of saying country club. The
Yeah.
old style country club. That's what they want.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I want people to make money. That's what I want. I want the comic book industry to be creating profitable opportunities for creators and for retailers. I want the comic book industry to stop scamming retailers. I want the comic book industry to stop abusing fans and other creators.
Yeah.
These are all things that I want for a prosperous, healthy, happy comic book industry. I don't feel that's beating up on the comic book industry.
No.
Now, I will call out bad actors rarely when it's over the top, such as that tweet.
You don't even review comics. I tried when your channel was in the trash can because you were doing how to draw the Joker for 73 views. I said,
Yeah.
review comics. You go, I can't do that. I'm a professional. I can't review comics.
Yeah. Pie Guy says that sleeveless shirt you wore a day ago was teetering on gay. Well, listen, what I wear when I'm drawing to be comfortable is one thing. You guys asked me to turn on my camera. You know, it's like I don't think it was gay. It was Zach. It wasn't gay. It was comfortable.
It's fine. It's fine if it was. Hey, I'm sorry to be that guy, but I actually have to get up really early tomorrow. I would love for us to finish that article.
You want to do that right now?
It's you're gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do a little 15-minute video, and then I gotta actually get a bed.
You got it, buddy. All right, let's get back to this incredible article. All right, so scrolling down to where we were. Sales in the book channel, which includes chain bookstores, mass merchants, major online retailers, and scholastic book fairs, were up by double digits, with sales of kids' graphic novels the biggest factor. Digital sales were also up for the first time in several years, with increased title counts across multiple platforms a factor. So people are selling these digital comics, and there are many ways to buy the digital comics, and that's helping. Sales in comic stores were down very slightly versus the previous year. Sales of all three formats, comics, graphic novels, and digital, grew in 2018, with graphic novels leading the way, followed at some distance by digital and this is all really reassuring. As presented,
it's everything we're doing.
Yeah.
Graphic novels is the way to go. We're doing graphic novels. Getting a direct out there. The only really one we're not doing is digital. I don't do digital because I want it to be something that you love and you share, and also because of the piracy factor. Yes, I know people can scan a printed book, but what happened? They destroyed the comic book industry. These SJWs destroyed it. Things are going up every single place, but and comic stores are shrinking.
Yeah,
insane. And we tried to help them.
Absolutely, and for what? I mean, this is they want to. I don't know if they want to succeed, but they want to do it their way. They just want to kind of rule over disaster. But this is good. All right. So as presented above and with the accompanying infographics, the analysis by Comicron and ICV2 was divided up between periodical comics, what some call floppies or pamphlets or cat spankers. That's what I call them. Graphic novels and digital download to own sales. All print figures are calculated based on the full retail price of books sold into the market and do not account for discounting or markup. Digital sales do not include subscription-based all-you-can-read services. Yeah, they got to cut that out, even though that's really good for the fans. That's giving stuff away. A new category, Other, has been added to the channel breakdown. Other includes the newsstand, periodical sales through specialty retail and mass merchant chains, and crowdfunding, Kickstarter.
Yeah, boy!
This year,
we just became part of the comic book industry. Congratulations, your first year in it.
I love it. This year, those two channels each accounted for roughly half of the
Okay,
other
so I'm calling.
category.
Okay, so I'm calling bullshit on that right there. If you notice one thing, every other thing gets its own category, and then crowdfunding, which is huge, which we have been a huge part of, gets mixed together with another one. Where do you see comics on newsstands? Where do you see periodical comics? Nowhere.
You don't see them.
That's bullshit. They had it in. What's not Borders? Barnes and Noble. They took that out and made all the news last year. It's out. They put in Walmart. Nobody can find it anywhere. So what if you go to the infographic? It's either I believe it's $20,000, which is the other category, and they say this. They give this loosey goosey weasel. Both the periodicals and the crowdfunding are both 50%. Bullshit. I just looked up. Kickstarter is 16 million for comic books for 2018.
Yeah.
So that's already a bullshit number. So I think periodical is very small. I think the crowdfunding, they finally had to put it in there because they needed it to save the industry, but they don't want to give us all the credit. $16 million in sales for Kickstarter comics. Between you and me and a handful of our friends, that's 2 million. So they're trying to diminish, but our number of 2 million, we don't even have to look at that other, which contains two things. We just look at the total. 2 million out of 80 million. 1 out of 40. Basically 3 to 4%.
That sounds right to me.
Between 5, 6 people? 7?
Just a handful of us. I mean, there were some others that, No, there weren't any. I mean, I'm right now I'm thinking about Icarus and the Sun, but that was this year. That wasn't
Yeah,
last year.
that was this year.
So that obviously it's only going to grow. We're going to become more with successes like that, and then with successes like what we're experiencing still. The launch of Rainbow Brute, I think, is going to be pretty good.
It's going to be freaking huge.
Yeah. So, by the way, Zach told me not to do the monkey keys, guys. I said no. I said, look, they're monkey suckers. He said, what? I said he's gonna be like, look, the monkey keys are munchie cheese. They jump out of trees and they suck your thumb. He's like, don't do that. I was like, well, why? He's like, this book's for kids. Don't do monkey suckers. I'm like, but they're monkeys. He said no. So I'm considering Zach. All right. So sources for the information include MPD BookScan, which collects weekly point of sale data on print books from over 16,000 locations, including e-tailers, chains, mass merchandisers, independent bookstores, and more. MPD BookScan covers approximately 85% of the U.S. trade print book market. Some publishers classify titles that are primarily text or art books as graphic novels. We remove those titles from our analysis.
So that's what I was talking about earlier, that this is a good source. I think they kind of try to gin things a little bit in the way they describe things, but the numbers are solid. They spent 4 months crunching these numbers. And I think the disparity in the Kickstarter numbers might be because they only counted North America. They said North America, but then they said Canada and US. They didn't say Mexico. Mexico's North America, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they said North America, and then they just said Canada and
Is it Central
United
America?
States.
It might be Central America. I don't know.
I thought it was North America. But anyway, so that 16 million of Kickstarter, once you subtract the things that aren't in North America, maybe it's 10 million, 12 million. But I still think that the majority of that other category is crowdfunding, because I don't see periodicals friggin' anywhere.
No. By the way, it is in North America, obviously. I just pictured North America in my head and Mexico was there, so I'm a dummy tonight. All right, so the analysis also incorporates information released by Diamond Comic Distributors, the largest distributor of English language comics and graphic novels in the world, on sales to comic stores. Information is also gathered from a variety of other sources, including publisher, distributor, and retailer interviews. This is the 6th joint market size analysis from ICV2 and Comicron. The last 5 reports are 2013 through 2017 sales. ICV2 and Comicron also previously collaborated on revised estimates for 2011, 2012.
So speaking of that, because this gets very, very interesting. So they've been doing this ICV2 for 6 years, I believe they said. And it's a pretty solid number because it does comics, from Amazon, from bookstores, from Scholastic, all that type of stuff. But when they called us in?
When?
They called us in after. So the Diamond numbers have gone down for 3 years, but the ICV2 numbers only went down for 1 year, last 2017. And then 2018, the powers that be, they said these numbers are going to go up. So who'd they have to call in? Your boy Zack and Ethan and company. Remember Sean Burry and company?
Yeah.
Remember Sean Burry and company? Ethan Van Sciver and company.
Awesome.
Who'd they have to call in? And so you can say, oh, and these, these people, they will try to downplay 2 million out of 80 million. Still very significant. But look at it for the crowdfunding. 2 million out of 20 million. Because I'm calling that periodical thing BS. 20 million. We're 10%. 10%. And again, please check my math. I'm a dummy, but this is what it's looking like to me.
Zoivide, by the way, $50. Thank you. He says, so it's socially just. I know, for EVS. When they send me $20 or something like that, I break up the show. We read it. Just for EVS to lose his drawing hand. But we're Nazis. We're Nazis because we want SJWs to create characters of their own and not push their ideas through already established characters, destroying the work of so many before them in the process. Yes, as they said in The Last Jedi, destroy the past, kill it if you have to. Boy, was that, that is so resonant, it's like, kill it if you have to. The past, disgrace the past, spit on the past. The past doesn't get us where we want to go. That's progress.
Forget the comic industry. Kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
That's basically, well, comic stores. So we should probably clarify. SJWs killed comic stores, not the comic book industry, because normal people can still buy their manga or whatever they want to buy on Amazon, and that's doing good. But I can't get over this. Did you ever think you were going to say that you were 1% of turning an industry around?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
Yeah, that's
I didn't think that was going to happen.
Right.
And actually, I used to kind of fall for that. You know, when Jamal Igle would say, it's $1 billion industry and they've sold 1 million and that's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. Well, it's still 1 million. And we were the drop that you called for. We were the medicine you needed.
Yeah.
SJWs are the poison and we're the medicine.
We might just be a couple of drops of liquid, but it's all over your faces.
And it's the stuff that you needed to go out of a tailspin. You guys have been kicked out of the comic industry. You were never in it. Well, ICV2 says we are solidly in it, and we're the reason it's going up. We're the reason it's not an industry-wide, every single place this stuff is sold. Who do you go to?
Yeah. That's correct. I mean, that's, we haven't made a change. I just think we're pointed to the future, Zach. I think that, the future is about crowdfunding. It is about using social media to crowdfund. It's about Amazon.com. It's about all of those things, but it's just not the direct market anymore. And it certainly
that is something we should check into, because people have been saying Amazon is really good with fulfillment. I can see possibly doing a thing where I say, I think we talked about this with Doug, releasing a floppy. Hey, I've got the Devil Dog Origin. It's 20 pages. And because I think he said that they will print it near where it's mailed, so that saves money. I guess they have a print function as well. So I definitely think in the next year, I'm going to start to look in Amazon. I can see the thing where I say, hey, it's on Indiegogo this year, and then next year it'll be on Amazon.
Cecil says, you guys were the money shot the industry needed. Exactly, Cecil. The money shot. He means an injection of money into the industry.
I still want to do what Cecil do, that stop thief idea. I always think about him.
Cecil's so great. Yeah, he's a controversial character. People, Cecil might be a normal person. Andrea watched him on Mindless Entertainment the other day. She said he was normal. He sounded like a normal guy. I don't get it. I said, because it's I don't know why. I don't want to break.
I used to think he was doing a character, but I've talked to him in private and he's been the same guy in private. So I don't know. Maybe that isn't a character.
And I think it's just, it's very Andy Kaufman. All right. So what do you want to do? You want to read or watch the video, or?
Oh, did you finish the article?
The article's
okay.
done,
So yeah. Okay. So yeah. So one of the great things about this is, it's an infographic. It breaks down the other category, because if you look at that article, they leave the other category off of, I believe, most of the infographics. But in the video, it's just right there, and it shows you the amount. So I'm just going to listen, and then I'm going to do a quick video before I go to sleep, and I'm going to cover it as well. But yeah, go ahead.
All right, let me see.
Will I be able to hear it?
I think so. All right, you talk right now.
Zach. Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay, all right, here we go.
This is the 2018 Comics and Graphic Novel Industry Report from Comicron.com and ICV2.com. I'm Comicron's John Jackson Miller. Comics and graphic novel sales hit a new high in 2018, according to a new joint estimate by ICV2's Milton Greep and Comicron's John Jackson Miller. Total comics and graphic novel sales to consumers in the US and Canada were approximately $1.095 billion in 2018, an $80 million increase over sales in 2017. The increase was due to gains in book channel and digital sales, and the inclusion for the first time of an estimate for US and Canadian sales through crowdfunding sites.
Yeah, boys!
The market bounced back last year, Miller said. Popular releases helped right the ship in comic shops, even as other sales avenues made significant gains. A historic shift is playing out as the market grew, primarily in the book channel in 2018, Greep said. While comic stores are still the largest channel, They represented less than half the market for comics and graphic novels in 2018 for the first time in at least 3 decades.
Wow.
It's
Sales in
heartbreaking.
which includes chain bookstores, mass merchants, major online retailers, and scholastic book fairs, were up by double digits, with sales of kids' graphic novels the biggest factor. Digital sales were also up for the first time in several years, with increased title counts across multiple platforms being a factor. Sales in comic stores were down very slightly versus the previous year. Sales of all 3 formats, comics, graphic novels, and digital, grew in 2018, with graphic novels leading the way, followed at some distance by digital and comics. As presented here,
Graphic novels future.
CV2 was divided up between periodical comics, what some call floppies or pamphlets, graphic novels, and digital download to own sales. All print figures are calculated based on the full retail price of books sold into the market and do not account for discounting or markup. Digital sales do not include subscription-based all-you-can-read services. We've added a new category, Other, to our channel breakdown. Other includes the newsstand channel, which is periodical sales through specialty retail and mass merchant chains, and crowdfunding through channels like Kickstarter. This year, those 2 channels each accounted for roughly half of the other category.
Bullshit.
For the information include NPD BookScan, which collects weekly point-of-sale data on print books from over 16,000 locations, including e-tailers, chains, mass merchandisers, independent bookstores, and more. NPD BookScan covers approximately 85% of the U.S. trade print book market. Some publishers classify titles that are primarily text or art books as graphic novels. We remove those titles from our analysis. The analysis also incorporates information released by Diamond Comic Distributors, the largest distributor of English-language comics and graphic novels in the world, on sales to comic stores. Information is also gathered from a variety of other sources, including publisher, distributor, and retailer interviews. This is the 6th joint market size analysis from ICV2 and Comicron. The first was for sales in 2013. For Comicron.com, I'm John Jackson Miller.
Yes. So there it is, man, in black and white.
I mean, this is like the 2 years of thesis I've had, and then what did you start about a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
SJWs are killing. We used to say the comic book industry. We need to say comic book stores. They have killed them. Comic book stores are now less than half of the market.
Wow.
The growth is in online, manga, Amazon, and crowdfunding. And me and you and our friends, I mean, like freaking, can you imagine? You know how they have those investors, if you got Disney stock and you get to go to the yearly meeting and you get to yell at the corporate board if you want to. If they had a meeting and you had to buy in, say, this is the saving the industry meeting. It's for the people who save the industry. And the buy-in, there's 80 seats here. $1 million per seat. We would be sitting in that meeting.
Yeah.
With Amazon, with manga, with Marvel, with DC, with everyone.
And I'd be yelling at all of them. I'd be like, and I'd be pointing the finger of scorn. I'd say, don't you understand? This is what we're doing. By the way, it's interesting that they only mentioned Kickstarter. They didn't mention Indiegogo. Indiegogo has raised more, I'm sure.
Well, they say,
Kickstarter has.
they say crowdfunding, and I think he just had a brain fart and said Kickstarter. Because in the article, it just says crowdfunding.
Well, I'm still suspicious of everyone. But yeah.
Yeah, I think they're doing a little weaselly stuff with that other category so they can say, oh, no, you didn't count for reason X, Y, and Z. They're giving a little, sop to our enemies. Oh, well, you can't guarantee you were counted in that. It's okay. So $1 million between us, I guarantee we were counted.
Yes. All right, let me read the rest of these super chats. Zach, thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate you. I know you got to run. Make a video, crow over this. Everyone, if you haven't yet subscribed to Comics Matter with your boy Zach, do so now. And congratulations, you are. Let me see where your channel is sitting now. You passed 100,022 subscribers.
Nice.
Fantastic. Go make videos for your new subs and have a great night, man. We should do this weekly.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, now we are in the comic book industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Congratulations, we just got in. But I mean, So I've got my buddy, and I joke around him, and I talk about the silly things he does, but he's a smart guy.
Mhm.
And I told him about this, and I was flipping out. I go, I got to double check the math, but it looks like me and Ethan were 1/40th of turning this industry around. And if you put our friends, we're 1/20th. And then if you get into the crowdfunding side of it, because we're 1/20th of the when you compare us to Amazon freaking.com. But when you get into the freaking crowdfunding, we're a freaking tenth of it.
Yeah.
Tenth of it. And this is the metric they had to add in because they were embarrassed about sales going down last year. So when it came to be saved, they came to Amazon and they came to you and they came to me.
Because
Doug Tenopple, and yeah.
I mean, the retail establishment right now, just 50%, less than 50%.
There's nothing to save. They're dead.
Unbelievable.
They're in space, and the oxygen tanks have run out. They still got some oxygen in the compartment, but it's turning into carbon monoxide. We tried to save them, and 12 psychos on Twitter killed them, slit their throat. But the thing that's so exciting is this is the future.
Yeah.
Is that when you say weekly meetings, I think me, you, and some other people should start having maybe like monthly meetings, business meetings. There's a symbolic room that has a $1 million per seat entrance fee, and we're sitting in that room. And there's not 100 people in there. There's 80 seats in there. So we're part of the business of saving this industry.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you're keen on saving the industry. I'm not. I'm really not. I'm keen on
okay. So
saving the art
let me
form.
say save comics, or at least
Save comics. I mean, yeah,
and also get people to read. I mean, we get these people. I read these emails every day. People are happy. People are really happy about customer service. I'm doing refunds for damaged books. I'm doing and what everyone says, So I refund a book. I send a second one. You say, oh, you're losing money. You know what everyone says?
What?
They say you got a customer for life. They're unhappy with their book. Got a little water damage. I send them another one. That's not lost profit. You're not losing the sale of a book. You're getting the sales of all your books for the rest of this person.
God bless. I mean, that's absolutely awesome. So we should kind of assemble and make plans to actually make crowdfunded comics more viable, more frequent, more profitable. Let people know about them more.
More profitable for us, but also better for the customer. A bigger bang for their buck.
Yeah.
I know. I've been able to dial some things in. On previous, I was doing $10 for American postage. I think I got down to $5 on my most current one because I was able to learn the realities. We're going to be able to dial things in, and there's I've got Iron Sights 2. It's a third done. Jawbreaker's God King is I think like 75% done now. These books are going to come out, and then the other thing is that hey, y'all sitting on the outside, you comic companies, you whatever, you're sitting there. There's $1 million in the middle of the field. What does that Alec Baldwin say? It's just waiting for you to take it.
Yeah.
He goes, are you man enough to take it? Are you woman enough? Are you person enough to take it? Sitting out there in the field. Oh, don't worry. Oh, watch out. 12 weirdos on Twitter are not going to like you if you go take that $1 million.
Yeah. Oh, it's just everyone's got to just pony up. Everybody's got to be a little bit more brave, a little bit less concerned about what bad people are saying, and then let's just worry about making money, and let's worry about being successful, and let's worry about building something that's going to last.
And the thing is, this is it's you tell me what you want. You know what I mean? You want more iron sights? People wanted more iron sights. They said we want when you sell 2, bring back the first one as well. You're getting that. You want Lost Souls to come back? You're getting that. You want God King? You're getting that. You just ask for it, and we'll make it for you.
Absolutely. Amazing, awesome news. Everyone's excited about this, and this is just But it is weird how they tried to take credit for it, though. In a way,
The
it's
thing is, this is a trait of SJWs. They never read past the headline ever.
yeah.
They're very, very lazy people. The first time I saw it, I go, that just doesn't make sense. The third time I go, I'm clicking on this thing. There's something there. Boom, crowdfunding. Boom, 80 million. Boom. Wait, didn't me and like 6 people I know make 2 million last year? Isn't 2 million a pretty significant percentage of both the 20 million for other and the 80 million for saving the end?
Yes. It is. It's a big deal. I'm proud, but we got to get bigger than that. I want to be eventually this has got to be 50% of the comic book industry. It's got to be. I mean, everybody doing this. I've heard a lot of big pros this week talking about it on Twitter. I mean, really saying, look, I'm examining my options. I'm wondering if a crowdfunded comic book is actually the way to go. And people have initial
Well, it
worries about
is, but there's still that aspects of social media and connecting with people, and not even getting into the artists who are like weirdos and psychos, but some artists are just not, they're not that socially savvy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're that good artist from 90s up until now, and people know you, but you're like, I'm not the most captivating person in the world. Well, there's some people who are good at doing that type of stuff. But if I talk to him, this psycho's gonna say I'm a mean person. Okay. How much you got in retirement? How much you got in savings?
Yeah.
How much do you sell in comic book stores? When's the last decade you got a bonus? Yes, 12 psychopaths are gonna say mean stuff about you for a couple days.
Yeah. Yeah. Just suck it up. Everybody has to stand up. Do it for the industry. Do it for comics. Do it for yourself.
Same people. When you had that thing with Diamond, we talked about it. He said this person's going to say this. This person's going to say this. Literally, you just saw it. Them check in. I hope they go bankrupt. Who would say that? It's a freaking variant cover.
Yeah.
What kind of person wishes bankruptcy? When you say bankruptcy, it's just not just a magic thing. We're talking about people not being able to pay their mortgages. We're talking about people who spent 20 years building up a company. You didn't blow up a building full of kids.
No,
you said something they pretended to be offended by 2 years ago.
Yeah, if anything, I've brought joy to children as I teach them about comic books in the 4th grade. I mean, that's what I did, Zach. I went to elementary schools and I taught kids about comic books and how to draw superheroes. 4th graders. That's what I've done. I didn't blow up a school full of kids. I blew up a school full of kids' imaginations. So shame on all these people. They're really, really weird. All right, let me read these super chats. Some people are getting upset that I haven't gotten to them. Lucas King says, if it weren't for St. John the Browning, I'd think Mormons were ridiculous. Okay. Massive Panda says, I can't concentrate on drawing my current page or listen to the soothing voice of Uncle E because the neighbors above me are stomping on the ground. What the hell's going on up there, Massive Panda?
Microaggressor. Apartment living is for the birds, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, you got to be either being above or below is the absolute.
Well, I would always get the top floor. Always get the top floor. You got to get the top floor. But then, I don't know. You get lucky and then you get unlucky, but I'm telling you, I don't want. There shouldn't be anyone in comics living in an apartment unless they choose it. Yeah. There's, the Jamal Agos want to say, "Oh, there's $1 billion." Yeah, there's $1 billion now, and there could probably be $2 billion if you guys would just stop acting crazy. There's nobody should be and not be in a house, and if they want to be a house, there's money out there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Microaggressor says Revenge of the Nerds meets Night of the Living Dead. Follow Rob Muerta on Indiegogo for updates on the upcoming Tales from the Classroom. The doctor says John's opening page from Jawbreakers is still my background phone image. I remember yelling at Zack to read Cable with John. Micah Curtis is here. Hey, Micah, how you doing? He says, didn't my dude Bob Stone do the logo for Jawbreakers? He's doing the art for my projects.
Yeah, Bob Stone is freaking fantastic. He did Jawbreakers, he did Iron Sights, and his rates are so reasonable. I even told him, I go, when you buy art, it's basically work for hire and you own every single part of it. But I told him, I go, you charge me so little and it's so good. I'm paying you what you asked every single time I use your logo.
Oh, I love it. CMYK.
So
Oh, sorry.
people have asked for I love this guy, but he's like I don't know. I think he might be 90 years old. He answers emails like once a week. I have no idea what he does. He's so good. You write him, he responds a week later. I go, wait, what is this? I think he has a regular job, and I think he checks in like,
I like that. I like having a regular job and not being on top of all of your social media. That makes me think you're sane,
Yeah, great guy. Fantastic at logos. Oh my god, so good.
All right. CMYK Comics says, "Hey Zach, I've always wondered why you chose the Legion of Superheroes as your chat avatar. You never talk about those guys."
I have no idea. I think literally I was like, so even though I was an IT guy, I still get confused. And I think I was trying to do, it was one of those things where, you know how sometimes you need an image and it has to be this DPI and it has to be like 140 pixels wide. And I think this is the only thing I could find to like meet the requirements for it. Yeah. I don't know who these people are at all. Sun Boy, Bouncing Boy, I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, I couldn't name them either, except for Saturn Girl, who I think is one of my favorites. All right, Chase Johnson says, "Thanks for a quality live stream. This is high quality information. Also, 50 cents of this should be given to Zack Shoe Fun." Yeah, I always said I think Zack's fans should actually buy him new shoes.
I got this oil stain on one of them, and it really bothers me because it's been growing. These shoes were $9.99 off the peg at Walmart, and I bought them like a month ago, and I need to get new ones because they're ruined with this stain. I don't even know where it came from. So I got to spend $9.99. It's killing.
Can you imagine, like, guys, if Zack opened up a PO box, which by the way is dangerous now, but if Zack opened up a PO box and just gave you his shoe size, Zack, you would have some crazy shoes, man. You'd have a lot of shoes. Some of them would be expensive.
I do this for a reason. Number one, I used to be very poor, so I got used to it. Number two, I subscribe to that Bill Gates thing of he wears a $20 khaki slacks. I'm trying to be a millionaire, but I'm trying to not look like it.
I got it. Yeah, by the way, actual millionaires look like hell. I didn't mind closing on my house today wearing a t-shirt and jeans and a baseball cap. And the guy, by the way, the guy who owned the house, he bought it outright originally. Clearly a very wealthy guy, was also dressed the same. And I was like, oh, cool. So Mike Murphy says Team Monster Arms. Oh, wait, no, Trom TCHT says, your boy Zach, sometimes your videos don't play while my screen is off on YouTube Premium. It should, but sometimes it throws errors. So that's a concern. Mike Murphy says, Team Monster Arms, congrats on the new house, Ethan. Congrats on the new house, Ethan. Have a great evening, guys. Thank you, Mike. Mark C. I read that one. Let me see. Just catch up to where I was. All right, Zach Simple is good, but I think more bulk and retail style. Okay, we read that one. Daniel K, thanks for $1. Brian Urso, thanks for $20. Said, wanted to tell you guys that my prog rock band Gideon's Mob debut album is selling well on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, CD Baby, and Bandcamp, and will be featured in the UK rock magazine Fireworks, which will be out in summer. Hey, congratulations, Brian. Cool. Mellow East, yeah, I mean, he's been working on this for a while. He says there's a song about ComicsGate in it. Mellow E says, about these retailer tiers, has it been confirmed that any ComicsGate book has been seen in the store? I don't think so, right?
Oh, wait, you're talking about, I think Ben Henderson had his book in the store.
All right, yeah. So yeah, maybe a couple of them. It's not really a concern to ComicsGate right now. We're going to do it. I think Cyberfrog's going to do it just because. I don't expect to sell that many comics. And the thing about it is that you find yourself second guessing. I mean, I've sold almost 18,000 copies of Cyberfrog at $25 each. It's done really, really well. But if I break it down into little $3 books and I put it into comic book stores, what am I going to, who else needs to buy it? I'm not really sure. And I'll put it out there and it'll sell, 3,000 copies and people will make fun of me like it's a failure. It's I'm I don't want to be made fun of. I made $800,000 on this book already. So that actually, that attacks my pride. Do you have that problem, Zach, or no? You don't care?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing because there's going to be there's gonna if we go through the traditional channel. I mean, I already tried to go through the traditional channel, and you saw the pushback on that. You know, people say, well, you can start your own channel, well, but then they're going to go after the distributor. They're going to go after the stores. The stores are going to pressure each other. So it's kind of weird because SJW's destroyed the comic book industry. They destroy comic book stores. But if you put a store and if you put a book out and it doesn't sell what it sells other places, they'll be like, ha, 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 we got you. Well, cool. Yeah. You nuked the entire comic book store part of the comic book industry. So I can't sell what, Jawbreakers would have sold in 1995 if it would have come out. Like, is that okay? Your books don't sell well. Gail Simone's books don't sell well. Almost no one's books sell well.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess I'll do it anyway and just suck it up. These guys are going to make fun of me no matter what. And who cares?
These people made fun of you for a retailer thing. They're like, you paid for this. I'm like, people pay for commercials on the Super Bowl. Like, no one's like, stupid Pepsi. You had to pay to get in the Super Bowl. Of course you did. This is like big business. You're making $800,000.
I think they really think that being in the comic book industry is a real privilege. And I think that they also think that being in the industry is real hard. Once you're in there, it's hard to get you out. Right. So, once you're out, they want to keep you out. They got to keep you out.
Well, ICV2 says not only are we in,
we're important,
but we are our own category, and we are a significant part of what's saved because it wasn't comic book stores. These people are obsessed with bookstores and conventions. What does Kwanzaa always say? My books are on stands. Yeah, they're still there a year later. Nobody buys this shit. Congratulations, you're in a place where you're not even in half of the market, and you've killed that market. You freaking sprayed freaking DDT in there, Agent Orange. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're over here in a clean environment. You're in a freaking infested environment.
Right.
Insane.
All right. So Gark777 says, I just want to say that you guys, Mike Miller, John Malin, and the rest of ComicsGate family are killing it. Thanks for entertaining me on a daily basis. Hey, thank you. And we're glad you're here. Rob J says, Zack's dream would be to live as a hermit on a mountain and never talk to people. He'd end up marrying a Bigfoot. True or false, Zack? It's pretty close to true. But you wouldn't marry her, though. You wouldn't marry a Bigfoot.
Well, there's a very simple definition of social and antisocial. Social people, they get energy from social interactions. Antisocial, it kind of drains them. I mean, as much as I like talking to you, I have a clock in my head like they used to have in the Spawn comics.
Yeah,
it's just ticking down. Whereas you can do. Didn't you do a 10-hour live stream one time?
I've never done anything that insane.
Or was that Ricada?
Was that
Ricada who did 10 hours one time?
I could keep doing this all day.
So you guys are social. Yeah, and I'm antisocial. I once got out of a live stream by saying I had to eat things.
I remember that. That was funny.
And sometimes I just
you can go now, Zack. It's okay. Like, here's the thing. I let people know about you. I'm like, Zack, this is how he'll just creep out. He'll disappear. And that's okay. You just have to understand.
Irish farewell is the greatest invention in social history.
Yeah. It's totally cool. We appreciate your being here, like, at all. So, it's nice that you're here.
Well, I just want to, again, before I go, is just to thank everyone. It's been a crazy 2 years, but you guys have, you've made me $500,000. You got me out of debt that I would have been until the day I die. You got Ethan this beautiful house, this freaking. Is it a mansion? Well, how do you?
No, I wouldn't say it. It's just.
Does it have to have columns outside of a mansion? I feel like a mansion needs columns. And columns that actually hold something.
Yeah,
and it also needs stone. It can't be wood.
It needs stone. Yeah,
it's a really nice big house.
Yeah. I call it a mansion because you did, but it's just a really, really nice house. And we actually told the people today when we met them, and they gave us the final walkthrough. And she was like, "This house meant everything to us. It's just our kids are all gone, and we're moving on to another phase of our life." And I looked at her and I said, "This is our dream home." And she started to cry. And she was just like, she's like, I knew we're, selling it to the right people. So it really is, it's beautiful in every way. And we're quite happy with it. And, I'll tell you something, very difficult to get a home. and pay your mortgage when you're working in mainstream comics. I'd just like to point that out, especially in 2019. Rob J says, Zack's, okay, I read that one. No Saint says, my signed and CGC Lone Star just arrived. Is this a tier you would consider adding like Mike Miller did on his first Lone Star campaign? No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not interested in CGC. It's too much work. And it's something that you can do. You know, you can do it. Zorak, thanks for $10, says, EVS, I'm nearly finished with my economics analysis for college on the comic industry. A lot of ideas seem to be confirmed. Gonna send it to your email soon. Don't dox me, bro. Trebuchet jousting. Hell yeah. Doctor says, did anyone ever find Mike Wade's flashlight? I think he meant fleshlight, which you guys told me about. I didn't know what a fleshlight was, but they told me. Spike in Madness says, will you please make stickers and patches of all the different Laughing Man icon pics? Tico, Solo, Caesar, etc. Hail Caesar. That's a good idea. Story time with Yang Yan Zhao. Thank you for another $2. You're confusing incels with MGTOW. Yeah, but I think they are too. I don't think it's just me. I think they're confusing incels and MGTOW. When you tell me it's involuntary celibacy, I take you at your word. That means they want to have sexual relationships with women, but they can't for some reason. And that makes me feel sympathy for them, not hatred. Zoivod says, Ethan, they know you're joking when you call yourself Caesar. It's nothing more than repurposed ignorance. They're hoping whoever reads their tweets has never watched you and will think the worst of you. And Zoivod, that's very effective. And that's exactly what they're doing. How could you be so, arrogant and narcissistic? Well, it's hard to not be narcissistic when half of the industry doesn't shut the fuck up about you. I mean, these people talk about me nonstop. Excuse my language, but they talk about me all the time. I must be very important. How does one not be a narcissist when everyone talks about them? Barb Rogers says, congrats on 100K subs. Zack, silver play button review. SJWs are losing and we are winning. Just another sign that people are getting tired of them. I agree. Marco Guerrero, thanks for $1. Cyborg Patriot says, that was me. He said Caesar was abusive to fans. I said, show receipts. He didn't respond. Hail Caesar, hail War Campaign, leses and trainings for Caesar. Oh, thank you very much. So that, gay rights now. Brian Urso said, my old job, thanks for $22, Brian. My old job, I was an OT. They taught us to treat the patient as a person first and their disease last. SJW is like Brie, who demanded a person of color, female in a wheelchair for her interviews, ableist, racist, sexist, ageist. Yeah, I agree too. Russ C, thanks for $1. Danny Agent 87 says, any opinions on Indiegogo delaying payments? They have a strict policy. Indiegogo wants to make sure that your current crowdfunds are fulfilled before they will release payments for any other ones that you do. And I think they let you do 2. Now, how do I feel about it? It makes sense to me. It cuts down people scamming Indiegogo, taking more money than they are fulfilling projects. But I want to do like 8 things at a time. What if I want to do?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Zack, hang on. You're roboting. You're roboting. Give it a minute.
Sorry.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. So, okay, now try.
The one at a time is a big issue because I've talked about I've got 17 books and almost all of them are ready to go. At least like I have the story. I just need to type it out. And just doing one book at a time is, I could double my capacity. I could put out twice as many books and have to deal with that rule. Now that is one person per account. So maybe you start doing it where the artist puts it on their account. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to just have a sit-down meeting with Indiegogo and be like, look, we're looking at expanding your platform, and I want to market merchandise through Indiegogo, not just comics.
Yeah,
and thus the other choice is to go to Amazon. But see, the reason why people go, why don't you just sell through Amazon? I have a belief. I believe that the reason why people watched game shows in the 1950s was because they just like to watch the money. They like to watch the number grow. It's psychological. They like to contribute to it, see it change because of their efforts. So crowdfunding actually is psychological, and I think it stimulates growth and more profit because people like to see the number grow. When you're throwing your money at Amazon, you're throwing into a well. You have no idea how much I made on Cyberfrog if I'm
Yeah.
selling it through Amazon, and you want to know.
It's not as fun. So, like I said, I can see it being the 2 year down the road thing. We'll put God King on 2 years down the road, but yeah, it's not something to build excitement. But yeah, so if maybe Indiegogo eventually has a talk with you and they're like, hey, if you've done 3 in a row and they've been, fulfilled, then you can do 2 at a time.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that's what the conversation that I'm going to have with them. Micah Curtis says criticism and feedback is how industries improve. SXS says don't listen to Zack. I like the drawing videos. Yeah, a lot of people do. I like them too, but they don't get as many views. They have a limited audience of people who want to draw something. So I'll be doing some more of those, but not as frequently. It won't be daily content. Maybe 3 or 4 of them a year or something like that. But the thing about those videos is they're evergreen. The people watch them. I'll add 3 or 4 of them per year, and then look, people will watch those forever. Gark777 says only super Walmarts carry the 100-page DC Comics. I've noticed that.
Obi-Wan I've been to super Walmarts and they don't have them.
Oh, well, they do. They keep them in the Pokemon section. Did you know that?
I've probably looked at 20 plus Walmarts over the last 6 months.
Well, I saw them. I found them for the first time like last month, and I went, "Oh, look, there they are, a box of them," and they look. It doesn't look good. I mean, it really does look cheap. Like they don't care. Like Walmart doesn't care. And getting in Walmart. I know people think Walmart is the savior. I don't think people go to Walmart to buy comics. Not even at all. They don't. Their magazine department is a wreck.
Maybe
Walmart
if you could get them in the actual lane. But
yeah,
even then, I don't know.
Yeah. But no, they're not going to do that for you. They've got Cosmopolitan and Us Weekly.
That's people magazine.
Yeah. Obi-Wan says, don't forget about Jeff in 2018 with Stealing Solo. Yeah, he did really well too. Doctor says, they did include the $5 million in product dumped at Ollie's and sold at 20% of the cover price at full manufacturer retail price though. So the number is bumped. Oh, how about that? I didn't know that, Zach. The Ollie's dump. Are you aware of that whole thing? That was a disgrace. Oh,
place I've lived, but I've heard about like a clearance place, and it was just pennies on the dollar, just tossing it out there. Honestly, I consider stuff like that to be borderline some kind of malfeasance, because what they're doing is they're going to Disney and saying, "Hey, Squirrel Girl's doing amazing. No, people can't get enough of Miss Marvel. Oh, Captain Marvel is a license to print money." And then what do? 6 months later, you got tens of thousands of those things dumped in some clearance place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty sad. It's depressing. Ollie's, I've never been in there, but World Class Bullshitters does videos in Ollie's, and they're hilarious in how depressing they are.
I heard it's literally a pallet on the ground with like shrink wrap around it, and you got to open it and just pull out some 12-month-old copy of Squirrel Girl.
No, they're all trade paperbacks. I mean,
trade paperback of Squirrel Girl,
yeah, tons and tons of just Mark Waid trade paperbacks that are like $2, and it's just like, boy, how it just feels like the end. Like even though it might have seemed like a good idea to liquidate these comics, from a business standpoint from Marvel.
The optics of it are embarrassing as hell.
Oh God!
It's better to burn them.
Yeah, it is better to burn them. Diversity and Cecil says, "You guys were the money shot the industry needed." Soyvad says, "The difference between us and them is this." And thanks for $20, Soyvad. "We want them to do well, but do it on your own merits and stop leeching off of what others have built. And they just want us to fail, even if EVS has to lose a hand. Disgusting." By the way, they were plotting today. Like, when is Ethan going to another comic convention? You know what I mean? And it's like that.
Tell them never. You're gonna lose your whole weekend to make $350.
Yeah, I will never go to a comic convention. Like, there's nothing in it. Like comic conventions right now are like Ollie's. Okay, it's depressing. It's a lot of
that's a good analogy.
yeah, it's the same
Whoa.
feeling.
It
It's
is.
yeah, it's a lot
Well,
of
so
people
actually,
who
so do you remember the one I was talking about Zaxton meeting with Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew?
yeah,
So I was broke for a while and I got a little bit of money. So I took him to one. And it was when that Gangnam Style song was popular.
yeah.
And I hadn't been to a comic convention in like 15 years. And every 5 minutes, somebody would walk by, blast it on a radio. And then a bunch of people start bouncing up and down and giggling. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, so that's what it's just a place for people from drama club to go dress up and hang out for a couple of hours.
Yes. Yeah, it's all cosplay
It
now.
has nothing to do with comics. It's cosplay and cheap prints, and like it's just, you know what is the worst? When you look over
What?
and you accidentally make eye contact with some 38-year-old Power Ranger actor. Not even the first couple seasons, like season 12, and you're literally staring right into his soul.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my god.
That's what it comes to. Like, really think about it. He had a conversation. Zach, for those who couldn't hear Zach, you were garbled a little bit, but he was saying, it's like when you go to a comic convention and you see like some Power Rangers actor who's 15 years out of his prime, and you're just looking at him and you're going, you can see right into his soul. It is depressing. Like his agent told him, well, you sit there for a weekend, you sign for these nerds, well, you might make $8,000, $9,000, and then you get there.
Making 8,000. They're making like $550.
Yeah, they walk out of there like angry, pissed off. I've been to these conventions. I've been in cars with these people, where they're walking by like, fuck, that show sucked. I made $1,200 all weekend. And it's the movie The Wrestler. It's like that movie is the comic book industry right now. So am I going to go?
So that movie is about 10 years old. I'm not sure it's quite the cultural touchstone you remember it being, but The Wrestler is about, basically, it's kind of like a Hulk Hogan type of guy living in a trailer. The saddest part is when he's playing the Atari video game of himself. You remember that scene?
Yeah.
That's the saddest thing I've ever seen. And so that's what comic conventions are. It's sitting in a trailer playing a video game of yourself.
And going to conventions in a bingo hall, sitting behind a table, and one fat guy comes up to you and goes, "Remember when you?" And he's giving you $20 to sign a photograph and talk your ear off, and you're just like, "Why am I here?" I like talking to people. I went to a convention in Temple last year.
Yeah, and it was fun. I talked to 20 people, but it's a real, like, it feels like something from the 1800s. I'm going to get in my wagon and we're going to bring some oats for the horse. I'm going to drive 2 days and I'm going to go to the feed store. Like it's a very old fashioned way to interact with people. This right here is the new convention. You were saying that a year ago.
Yeah. Shane Peterson just showed up and he said, "Hello, Ethan. How are you?" "Hey, Shane, I'm good." I don't know Shane. He's, but this is what it's all about. I mean, it's people coming together where I have things to say. I can tell you what I think, show you some art, make fun of Bat Cow, and then have a good time with Zach. I mean, this is better than a comic convention, I think. And it is the future. We reach more people, we interact with more people all around the world all at once. Even now, sitting here, I don't know how many people are in here. Let me see how many people are in here right now. By the way, YouTube ruined this. You used to be able to see, and now you can't. You have to refresh. 1,249 people watching right now. It's more people than I would meet in an entire year of going to conventions.
Yeah.
All at once. All right. So Rhino4563 says, "My boy Zach, did you make up with Larry Stroman? I saw he said you took a video down per his request. That whole situation made me sad. Did Larry tell you to take your video down?"
No, not at all. It was I did a video based on a Bleeding Cool article about him, and I assumed he was still, wanting to do monthly books. And he basically did this awesome old school clapback. And he said that he goes, "I don't like drawing cars on the street and buildings and all the windows." He goes, "Sometimes people just want to get old, smoke weed, and wait for the royalty checks to come in. I was like, this guy is the most awesome guy ever. So, I don't know if Larry Strom. I haven't peeked at his Facebook since then. I just wrote him just like a 2 sentence. I was like, hey, I heard you didn't like it. A lot of respect for you. I'm going to take it down.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Per his request, he's saying, but
he didn't. He didn't request for it to come down at all.
Yeah.
He was very confused. He's an older guy. He's like, what is this? Your boy Zack. It's not even his real name. I was like, I freaking love this guy.
I spoke to him too.
Go live your best life.
Yeah.
Rock
Larry,
on.
Here's the thing: drawing comics is hard, and Larry Stroman, he had a big opportunity in the '90s, part of Image, and made a lot of money off of one book, maybe 2 books, and it just never really picked up. He had a book called Tribe that should have rocked it for him, and people wanted it. They gave him money for it, but he just didn't want to do it. And Larry doesn't really want to draw comics. But recently there was a Bleeding Cool article that said that a writer who is ComicsGate associated asked him to do a project, probably Michael Barron, and he said, no, I won't do it because you're alt-right. Would have made money, but oh well. So I wrote to Larry. I said, Larry, I'll give you 6 figures. I'll make sure that you see a $100,000 payday to come over here and draw something for me. And actually, I didn't let him know that. I told Zack I was going to offer him that. First, I wanted to just feel him out. And he said, he's like, man, he's like, I just don't want to. It's not in so many words. He was perfectly polite. He just said, I just don't want to. I don't want to. And I said, I get it. I completely understand. It's not that, it's not that you don't want to draw these comics. You don't want to draw any comics. Got it. Legendary Uriah says, how does it feel when you become a legacy? How does it feel, Zack?
I don't think I am.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not. Saul for X-Men says, I wonder how much manga is propping up the graphic novel category. And if other is only 50% crowdfunding, you better believe it is. You guys are like 20%. Yeah, I think so too. Sweetcast says, thank you so much for highlighting my campaign. It's our pleasure, Clint. Handsome Jack, thanks for a $2 donation. Skeet Neat says, I haven't took a dump all day yesterday until today. Take care of yourself, man. Sometimes it's have a piece of fruit or something, that helps. Danny Agent 87 says, Tim Seeley is boasting about Comicron of increasing comic book revenue to $1.9 billion in 2018. Any opinions about that? That's what our entire show has been about, Danny.
Yeah, so Tim Seeley was bragging about us.
Yeah,
it was us. His books in comic book stores, the comic book store, his whole life, that went down. Ours went up, and they had to tag us in to save their freaking pride. Like this is the biggest victory. Who can say that they're 2% of saving an industry?
Yeah, us. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. How are your sales doing? How are your royalty checks? Don't fool yourself. I will tell you, when the comic industry is doing well, those royalty checks rock, man. They're fun. When the industry is not doing well, it doesn't really matter what Comicron says. You're just noticing your royalty checks are not growing, and they are not growing. Diversity and Cecil says, any flashlight is a fleshlight if you are tough enough. Wow, Jim Bobo, thanks for $1. Barb Rogers says, double A batteries, Cecil. Jim Bobo, another $1. And MW, another $1. Thank you. James Trammell, Indiegogo delayed Samedi payout for trust and safety review. Why is that?
Is it right now? Is it over? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, here's the other thing about it. Sometimes they will review. I don't know why. But they don't pay out right away. It's like I think the 29th of every month is when they pay out or something. So I think
I might have gone into trust and safety for like a day on my third one, which was the charity one. And you just go into it, and I just came right out of it.
Yeah, I know people at Indiegogo now, so I'm speaking to people directly, and it's like that's helpful. Most people don't get to do that. Indiegogo will leave you in the dark. But I am such an incredible force. I am such an unstoppable presence, a personality, a money. So
something weird is happening right now. You're being tongue-in-cheek and yet truthful at the same time. I don't even think there's a word for that.
Kind of vain and boastful, but in a charming way. I think. I don't know. I'm not.
Oh, by the way, I tried to look up comic book sales on Indiegogo, and I could not find a solid figure.
Oh, interesting.
So that might be why ICV2 just kind of did it loosey-goosey and combined two of them together.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be. So in any case, yeah, Peter Smetty will get paid out. I don't know why they're delaying it. It's weird. Indiegogo is not a problem.
Yeah.
If SJWs were good at their jobs, says Handsome Jack, they would wait. If SJWs were good at their jobs, they W bad guys. W bad guys. I don't get that one, Handsome Jack. I'm sorry. Thunderbird says, or gives me $2.99. Thank you. Harry Bergeron says, just got off the Millennium Falcon ride at Disneyland. You're kidding me. Pretty damn awesome. 7-year-old me was blown away. You're in for a treat when you go. I didn't even know that was open yet.
I didn't know either. Hey, was that Star Wars thing cool or not?
Star Wars Celebration? No, it was good to see friends. The like 90% of a good convention experience is what happens after the convention. When you go to parties, you're with your friends, you're drinking, you're having events, you're meeting people. But the convention itself was pretty lame. It was pretty much like a bad comic convention. The worst part of it, the saddest part of it, was Artist Alley. And I went to Artist Alley, and really they segregated people off. There may be 8 artists there, and nobody cared. I mean, like, nobody cared. Comic book artists. And I just kind of walked around and went, hey.
I thought it was going to be bigger, but when you were doing those run throws, it just looked like a Wizard World.
That's exactly what it was.
I thought it was going to be like the biggest convention ever. That's how they talk.
Yeah, and it's so like they only do it every 2 years. That's what no, they're going to actually do it in Anaheim next year. I don't know if maybe it was the location, but it was in the same building as C2E2, and the whole thing was it was underwhelming, and it was hard to meet stars. People were rude. It was different. Like, normally, the stars, the celebrities that are going to sign autographs, they kind of invite you. They help you in line. There are people to help you get your autograph and meet the celeb. People were barking. If you watched my live stream where I walked around the show at all, I filmed the guy. I stood there and filmed him being rude to people. The guy who was like, hey, if you don't have your fucking ticket, you're not getting in this line. Repeat. I'm like, that's no way to talk to someone who paid $500 to be here.
That's how TSA talks to people.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, this is Star Wars. We're supposed to be celebrating Star Wars. It's not this. This is no fun. Like, there's nothing fun about that. And the panel discussions were weird and shouty. I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go next year.
What do you mean shouty? They were like, I don't know.
They get these women. And this is why people think I'm a misogynist. You can't. They get these women and they give them a microphone, and they just let them do whatever they want to do on these stages right before the main event happens. And you can hear it. Like, I live stream this too. Women screaming into the microphone, "Hey everybody, welcome to," like shrieking female voice, loud. People holding their heads. And absolutely stunning. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing up there? Oh, we're having fun. We're making jokes about cosplay. You're really noisy. You're really, really noisy. So
that reminds me of something somebody showed me, and I go, this is not real. And they go, yeah. So I guess the Hugo Awards for science fiction have been completely converged by SJWs.
Yeah.
And they showed the presenter and 2 of the award winners, and you'll feel it's fake. Like, it is like, it literally looks like bluest hair on a 300-pound person. Like that, instead of like best, bestsellers. Like, it's like this feels like parody.
Yeah. The Eisners are the same way. My poor brother.
Oh my gosh.
Noah, he's up for 2 Eisners this year. I'm like, oh, you're going right into the den of SJWs. Well,
the Eisners is weird because any professional can vote on it, but they don't let any professional nominate. So it's this little secret conclave that picks the 5 people to vote on, and it literally looks like it's like merit, not merit, merit, not merit. You got Sean Gordon Murphy with person X, and you're like, It's like, when you and me grew up, that old Sesame Street, one of these things just doesn't belong here.
It's Sean Gordon Murphy with what's his book called? White Knight, Batman White Knight, and
Masterpiece.
and then the next person in line is like somebody with a fake name with a book that's called My Period, My Hell, and it's like, what the fuck? And it looks like it was drawn by like an insane person in an asylum with fecal matter. And this is the person who might win because I don't know this reason or that reason, but
They know who's going to win, but they put someone up on there. It's like, do you remember that River Phoenix movie Dogfight?
yeah.
Okay, that's a really old reference.
Yeah. Try
It's
again.
basically Dogfight.
Yeah. So Noah's got nominated for 2. Oh my gosh. No, Zack, my brother, who was a genius. My brother Noah.
Oh, by the way, I saw the cover for one of his things, and I'm not really into artsy style, but it looks really good, really good.
Yeah, no, he
that
is
that type of world. It feels like he's like the master of that type.
like everyone bows to him.
I didn't know. I didn't see his name. I just saw it and I go, that's not my style, but that is really good. And then I saw his name. I go, oh wow, okay.
Well, so Noah. All right. Now he's my little brother. He's 10 years younger than me. People ask me about Noah all the time. And I try to keep I don't talk about Noah very much because I don't want him to have to deal with the consequences of being my brother in this industry. And Noah and I love each other. Noah comes to visit, he'll stay over. He my favorite brother? I have 4 brothers.
What? I didn't know that.
I
only had one.
Yeah, 4 brothers, 4 sisters. I'm the oldest boy of 9.
What?
Okay, yeah, it's true. Mormon family. So Noah is the second youngest in the family, and I'm the second oldest.
So you just kind of know him.
Yeah, like I moved out when he was 9.
I have cousins like that where it's like the older brother is more kind of like an uncle that you barely know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, see, that's how Noah feels about like my dad. That's how Noah feels about our dad. I mean, that's how Noah feels about, our big sister, Jenna. He's like, I didn't know Jenna. She got married when she was 18 and moved out when I was like 6. It's like, I don't know her. She's a stranger to me and she's annoying. So that's Noah's whole world, which is strange. We saw the family from 2 different angles growing up. Now, Noah is nominated for an Eisner for a book that I kind of watched him draw and kind of helped him with a little bit. He would ask me for remembrances and, stuff like that. And we had a nice talk called One Dirty Tree. Now, he and I grew up in a house together in Merchantville, New Jersey, 133 Maple Terrace. And right in my dad must have paid 40 grand for it. I mean, it's just a piece of garbage, but it was big enough to house 9 kids. If we shared bunks and stuff. Right in front of the front yard was the goddamn poltergeist tree. And I'm not even exaggerating. The poltergeist tree was in our front yard. So we didn't call it 133 Maple Terrace. The entire neighborhood called it One Dirty Tree Maple Terrace. And so he titled the book One Dirty Tree. Now, this is the awful thing. Okay, this is the bad thing. Noah did a very funny and sincere portrait of what it was like to grow up in my family. 9 kids, a father who was mentally ill. Okay, he suffered from manic depression. And it was my dad's manic depression was pronounced. I mean, we knew it. He would hit us, and stuff. The chat now knows my father. He goes this holiday. He's a lot better these days. He's medicated. He'll come on the show and everyone loves him. But when we were growing up, he was tough to deal with. He was either manic and wonderful or he was depressed and really hard to live with. So Noah did a story about how growing up dirt poor in a house that was falling apart with bugs and sometimes there would be no running water. I mean, severe poverty, like third world poverty that we grew up in together. How that's affected his personal life growing up now as an adult. And it's affected him in a very pronounced way. He has a lot of anxiety and he's a real artist. Like this kid is something else. And so it goes back and forth. By the way, the book actually shows the birth of Cyberfrog because he remembers that as a little kid. He remembers me sitting there with my floppy blonde flock of seagulls haircut, listening to Depeche Mode and drawing Cyberfrog pages, and that meant a lot to him. He started drawing a book about chickens because of that. And so anyway, this story is wonderful, but it's also immensely personal. There's a scene where I punch my father because he's beating my little sister. And, like right before my dad walked out on us, my dad was flipping out over something in the basement. My little sister, Abby, he started hitting Abby. And I came down there. I was a big, like burly 19-year-old. And I said, get your hands off her. And I punched my father in the face.
Jeez.
Now, this is in the book. So this project, and Noah remembers it, and it freaked him out and everything. And I moved out. My dad moved out. This is in this book. If you want to know who I am and who he is, like who I am through his eyes and the family and everything, it's all there. But imagine the comic book industry right now, receiving all of this incredibly personal information about my family. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Renfamous tweeted out last week, slyly, a picture of her saying, I'm just catching up on the Oscar nominations. And right there was Noah's book. I mean, that's a threat of it's a kind of winky, I'm about to seriously invade your privacy, the privacy of somebody who I hate. And I'm going to do it under the guise of this. Like only a few people are going to understand what this means when I tweet this out. Like that's who these people are. That's exactly who these people are. So now it's like, oh, your father's mentally ill and all this stuff. And he was. I mean, it was my father was an extremely complicated man, and it would take an extremely complicated man to sire two geniuses in one family. And so, in any case, yeah, everybody's like, this got really, really serious. Yeah, it did. So this book is out, and it's like, I want people who love us to read it, and I want people who hate us to stay away from it. And that's the tough thing about art. You don't get to decide who enjoys it. We don't take, like, that's what the SJWs do. Don't buy my book. Don't buy my book. I don't want you to buy my book. If there was ever a case where I would say something like, don't buy a book, it's in this situation. Like, you don't have the right to read this comic. But everybody does. It's art. It's Noah's art. And he's been nominated for an Eisner. Now, Zack, knowing what I just told you, who do you think is going to win the Eisner?
I don't know what category he's in.
I don't know. Best artist. He's going to win.
What? Oh, that would be great. Yeah. I mean, I haven't read the book, but I just saw the art and I was just like, this is of what I always say, perfect is what did you try to be and then how close did you get to it? And it feels like that would meet my qualification of that word.
Yeah. Everyone's saying not Noah. I'm saying no. I think Noah will win. And it'll be a way of, rewarding him for being the good Van Sciver brother. And listen, he's so good. He's got another book out as well that's Eisner nominated, called, it's the third Fonte book that he's done. Fonte Bukowski series of comics he's doing about a writer who's a hopelessly untalented writer who's trying to get work. I can't remember what it's called, but it's Fonte Bukowski 3. Everyone should read his work. Absolutely everyone should. But boy, it's just so painful. You know what I mean? To be able to just say, look, yeah, everybody gets a window into painful aspects of our life. Like, this industry doesn't deserve that. This industry doesn't deserve Noah at all. Like, they don't deserve somebody who will actually open up in a way that's not self-serving. An artist who will actually reveal who he is in a way that isn't a way of trying to get sympathy. It's a way of trying to reach out and be understood. It's a way of saying, you want to know who I am. This is how I feel. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to show you how I feel and where I came from. And maybe you'll understand, but you probably won't. because our life was so weird. But you know, this is art. This is actual art in comics. So it's intense, man. This has been an absolutely intense year. But Zach,
Yeah.
if you get it, read it, review it.
I will get it. I might have to special order it. Actually, I'm doing some traveling, so I'll look for. Is it in stores right now?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's Eisner nominated. It should be everywhere. Is it? I
I'm
don't know.
in kind of a blue collar town, so it's like Venom. Venom is on the stand. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
real. I love this place, but there's not like artsy stuff down.
Right. Well, you never know. Nick Dastardly says shit was third world, yo. Hashtag no. Well, I don't think Noah said that. I think that's what I would say. Cameron Thomas says, hail the unstoppable sunbeam. Get a haircut, Zach. Judson Coe, thanks for 99 cents. Kyle Somke, thanks for $1.99. I got a free super chat. Hail Caesar, hail Caesar. That's nice. Thank you. Yeah, they're giving people free super chats lately, and they're paying for them.
I saw that. I didn't understand it. It popped up when I was I forget who it was yesterday. I just whatever. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. I didn't even bother trying. Like every time I go to somebody else's super chat, they're like, "You have free super chats," you know, to thank live streamers. And I never bothered to find out what they are either. But apparently, you can send people $2 for free on YouTube.
Then what does YouTube grab? Like $1.25 of it?
Yeah. They still get their third of that. But in any case, Snowball 2, thanks for 99 cents. All right, so I'm going to get back to, the book is called A Perfect Failure. That's what it's called, the Fonte Bukowski 3. Go to Amazon, order Noah. Just look up Noah Van Sciver books. They're all funny. They're hysterical. They're sad. They're touching. They're real. He's a genius. And I you know, he's also like broke all the time. And I'm always telling him, you know, your time is going to come. They're going to, God help me, they're going to make a TV show out of One Dirty Tree or a movie.
That's what I was thinking.
That.
It sounds like one of those things that gets adapted and becomes a big hit.
Yeah, then you're going to become a millionaire overnight, and that's what I'm hoping for. Except I don't want to know who's going to play me. Also, what else was I going to say about Noah? I forgot. I completely lost my train of thought. But in any case, all right. I'm going to say goodnight to you all. I'm going to thank Zach again for joining us through the whole show. I was giving you every out to leave whenever you wanted to, and you still stuck around. So I appreciate it.
Pretty hungry. I don't know how you guys do this.
Yeah, I talk and I can't, especially when you're around. I could talk to you a lot. When we get on the phone, we actually talk for hours. It's crazy. Yeah, we're both on the same wavelength. But yeah. So thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, Zach. And I'm going to see you again tomorrow with another video. Zach will too. Subscribe to Comics Matter with your boy, Zach. And subscribe to this channel too if you haven't yet. And we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.